Welcome to Comtrack, where you'll never have to watch a movie alone again. I'm your host, Tim Leifheit, and I am here tonight with another special guest, Nick Bowman.
Yo, what's up?
And he is from his own podcast, and I'm going to let, you kind of introduce...
Let me promo myself.
Oh, right, please, dude.
Self-market, yes. Merchandising, the key to...
Where the real money from the podcasting comes.
Yes, good old Spaceballs. Like you said, my name is Nick Bowman. I host a podcast called Nicky B's Movie Corner. You can basically find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever podcasts are available. Check it out. And yes, Tim, thank you so much for joining me as we are talking about the Han Solo movie.
Yeah, it's Star Wars month for us here at Comtrack, because I just got back from Star Wars Celebration, the biggest Star Wars binge of my life. And I thought, would it be really cool since, May the 4th be with you? And speaking of which, this is going live on May the 4th, so May the 4th be with all of you listeners out there, all three of you.
May the 4th be with all of you.
With all three of you.
Oh, you're actually putting this out on May the 4th?
Totally, dude.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so, and I figured, why stop there?
Be sure to look out for that.
Yeah, why stop there? Let's do as many Star Wars movies as I can, so... Today we're doing Solo, and next week we're going to be doing the other Star Wars Anthology movie, because, just for future reference, people, I'm not going to do the original Star Wars films, like the OG, like Star Wars Empire and Return of the Jedi. I'm not going to do those, because, A, those movies have already been talked about to death, and I really don't feel like contributing to them, because I've been doing that all my life, and people, mostly my friends and family, are already kind of pissed off, doesn't this cat ever stop talking about Star Wars? He won't shut the fuck up about Star Wars. Because there's 10 trillion different types of versions of the original trilogy out there. There's the original trilogy, like the original theatrical cuts. There's the despecialized that Harmony did. There's the 1997 special edition. There's the 2004 special edition. There's the Blu-ray edition.
And also, I think it's just been covered by so many.
Yeah, just fan versions.
Yes, versions from all around the world. So it's like,
how do you do that? You can't, with the format of the show. You just really can't do something like that unless you be really specific. This is the 1997 special edition.
Yeah,
and
it's
not everyone has access to that. So I'm not doing any of the original trilogies, but since there's no special editions of the Disney movies and the prequel movies and the spin-offs,
those are all fair game.
Totally,
we can talk
dude.
about those as much as we want.
Sadly, though, I'm just going to be frank with you right now. I'm not doing the holiday special. I've seen it.
I think you should absolutely do the holiday special.
I don't know if I can without a lot more alcohol, because it is
yes,
fucking.
We're gonna have to get
pretty shit faced to
yes,
get through it, dude. Because I'm not making it up, dude. I've seen that thing twice, and it is fucking boring. Really,
is why you should absolutely do it on this show.
I might have to way down the line.
We just truly have to expose the Star Wars special to everybody, so they truly understand what it is.
Look, if I'm gonna do that,
you can't. It's one of those things you can't describe. You can't fully describe what exactly the Star Wars holiday special is without sitting someone down and having them witness it themselves.
That is a really good.
What I mean?
No, you're totally got a good point, but for the same reason, I'm not going to do the.
It's
original.
One of those things like The Room. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's
no, The Room. The Room is entertainingly bad.
Oh, but you get what I'm saying. It's one of those things where have you seen The Room? And then they ask you what it's about, and you're like, you'll see. That's what the Star Wars holiday special is.
No, because the holiday special, like I said, is fucking boring. It's not even entertaining on a bad level.
An appearance by Jefferson Airplane.
It was I was just waiting for their number to wrap up, because that was one of the few times where I'm like, God, Jefferson Airplane sucks.
Apologies to any Jefferson
No, dude.
fans.
I love me some Jefferson Airplane, but right there and then I'm like, this sucks. Especially it wasn't even a good 70s music video. The dude, the lead singer, I forget his name. He looked like he was sucking on a lightning dildo. The microphone was glowing, and it was just hitting the camera wrong, and the bootlegs over the years have not done that any justice.
Yeah.
So holiday special I'm probably not gonna do. Also because it's bootleg.
Understandable.
There's no actual finite way, because there's the dozen different versions of the bootleg out there, some in varying quality, some with the commercials, some without. So like that's a tough one to do. So not just because it's so bad, but because
I get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
However, I am thinking about doing Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor.
You should do the. Okay, if you're not going to do the Star Wars Holiday Special, at least do the standalone Ewok
Those I will
films.
gladly do.
At least do the standalone.
It's not going to be
Ewok
part of
films.
this month. This month we're doing Solo today. Next week is going to be Rogue One. After that, it's going to be Revenge of the Sith, because I've got a really good close friend of mine and a former podcaster coming on for a special Versus episode. And then another Versus episode that a lot of people has been divided over, Last Jedi. So, yeah, that's going to be this month's finale. So, I spoiled pretty much your entire contract month ahead of time. But enough about like the contract level. Let's actually talk about the movie we are here today for, Solo.
All right.
Yeah, first impressions of the movie before we begin. And by the way, folks, if any of you newcomers there, if you don't want to hear us bullshit for like 10, 15 minutes, and you're like, start the movie already, just like go to the description below. There's a sync button where it starts literally the second we start the movie. So if you don't want to hear us bullshit for like 10, 20 minutes, just hit the sync button below and get started on the fucking movie already. So that said, what was your first impression of this movie, Nick?
Just boring, just overtly boring, and just such. I mean, I was really attest to the fact that we really didn't need a Han Solo standalone film anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's just
bring me a Fett movie.
Yes, bring a Boba Fett, which we are getting that apparently with the.
No, we're not. It's not. It's not Boba Fett. It's totally just. It's a character literally called the Mandalorian.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
I thought Boba Fett would be.
No.
Okay.
Kathleen Kennedy herself. I was at Celebration, dude, in Celebration Chicago, and she said specifically, yeah, the Boba Fett movie is not happening as of now.
I also think this movie doesn't just disappoint as just a Star Wars themed movie. I think it just disappoints as a space western.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Honest Trailers had the best alternate title for this, Cowboy Beeflop.
Oh, because this movie, I remember nobody was going to see this.
Yeah, because just to specify, neither of us have seen this, except for when we first.
This is the second time I'm seeing this movie.
Same.
I have only seen this, but yeah.
You saw it once in the theater. I saw it once in the theater.
I think it may have been, and this is fairly rare for a Star Wars movie. I think I saw this like the weekend after it came out.
Oh yeah, me too. Totally.
I don't think, if I remember right, I don't think I saw this the weekend it came out.
No,
which
rare, dude.
For a Star Wars fan,
movie,
yeah,
that's unheard of. It's also unheard of.
Because I just wasn't dragging myself to be like, yeah, I'm excited to see Solo. I was like, okay, I guess let's see how this is.
Yeah, because no, that's like a real first, because you never heard of a movie.
I actually wanted to like this. I wanted to like this a lot.
I wanted to
go in and be like, okay, let's see what this is, because I wasn't totally impressed with the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't totally impressed, and then I thought, okay, well maybe the trailers just suck.
Nope. Because
I was wrong.
I was just hoping to be like, pleasantly surprised. Like that was my expectation, or the highest expectation that I was having. Because I didn't go see it opening weekend either. Like that's unheard of. Like not see a Star Wars fan not seeing a Star Wars movie in theaters opening day even. Like Star Wars fans are rapidly trying to be there opening the first show. Like, we're not even there for the first weekend or the first week. We went to see it later.
I remember the theater was like, I'm like super, like, I remember certain things. Just like,
no, that's bringing up my second point. The other thing that's unheard of a Star Wars movie is you forget the movie by the time you get home from the theater.
Well, not only that, but just like, I remember certain movie theater experiences. Like, I remember seeing Force Awakens, theater was packed.
Yeah.
I remember seeing, just a few days ago, Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Theater was packed.
Yeah.
And for this Star Wars movie, when I went to see it, it was probably one of the smaller theaters in the, you know what I mean? Like, it probably wasn't, it was one of the smaller theaters, pretty spaced out. And I remember just looking around going, this is not how it should be for a Star Wars movie.
This isn't a Star Wars movie.
I
This
mean-
is a 2-hour Wikipedia page to put to film. And the Wikipedia
Wow, okay.
and it's an alternative Wikipedia page. It's not the one we even read on Wikipedia, the Star Wars Wikipedia, if you will. But yeah, I didn't even pay to go see Solo, because the thing was, like, one of the because I'm such a stupid ass rebel delinquent at heart. I went to go pay. What I love to do, especially in my high school days, because you're strapped for cash constantly. I go pay for one movie that I want to really see, and I try to time it with another showing that day. And as soon as that movie's over, I just walk over to the other theater and go see, and make it a double feature day. 2 movies literally for the price of one. So I took my girlfriend, Katie, went to go see Deadpool 2, which is out at the time. Paid to go see that, had a ballin' time.
Oh, yeah.
Then we hiked down over to Solo, and we're like, fuck, dude, I am so glad I paid for Deadpool 2 instead of this pile of shit.
Did you walk in literally as Solo was starting?
Yeah, like right as the actually we walked in, it was right during the opening chase sequence. Like,
Okay, sure.
So I missed like maybe 5 minutes. But
Not
great.
much, but
No,
okay.
I although interestingly enough, I was kind of pissed that I missed the opening 5 minutes, because apparently in the first 5 minutes, like, there's like this whole controversy of like no text or the weird text or the lack of a crawl or lack of thereof of a crawl.
Mhm.
So, but I went to go back and watch that. And now I officially have seen the entire movie. But yeah, this movie, like, what the hell, guys? Because we never asked for this. And weirdly enough, like, in addition to it being really bland, like, you're really in trouble when Han Solo himself is the blandest character in your Han Solo movie.
That was one thing that was completely sacrilege to me. I was like, okay, if this movie disappoints on the least bit level, just make Alden Ehrenreich not the Han Solo we know and love, obviously, but make it.
Mm-hmm.
Just make him the charismatic Han Solo, and it wasn't even that.
No. Instead, we got this very, very strained.
It
mess.
reminded me if they did like a Han Solo TV series on like the WB or something like that.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, it reminded me of like say they put out remember when they did like a long time ago, there was like a Young Indiana Jones TV show.
Yes.
It reminded me of that.
okay, but not in a good way.
No, not in a good way. Not in a good way, obviously. But like, say like the WB was like, and we're making a TV show about the young Han Solo days, and hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what it kind of felt like to me, only on a grand scale.
with a bigger budget, you mean?
Like, I could have seen them back in the day if they would have done a Han Solo TV series where you learn about Han Solo's backstory and you separate it throughout a series, but I don't think we need a movie about that.
No, as a matter of fact, I'm much more interested in the Lando Calrissian movie,
Oh,
because Donald Glover.
Donald Glover's the man.
Holy shit!
I just am a huge Donald Glover fan anyway.
He's a great actor, but as Lando,
Great actor,
great
actor, great musician.
when you watch him as Lando, you're just like, dude, this is totally the pimp Lando, young Lando that we were thinking about when we.
He's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, dude.
But we'll get into that more obviously when we're watching the movie.
Well, maybe how about we go ahead and start the movie?
Yeah,
'cause
let's
I
go
feel
ahead
like
and start this.
Talked long
Yes.
enough. So, for you folks back home, you pull out your Blu-ray, put out your Amazon Prime or Hulu, whatever the fuck you're watching it on, and cue
wherever
the movie
the
up.
kids are watching this.
Yes, cue the movie up, because we are about to hit play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cue. And there's the Lucasfilm logo.
Coolest part of the movie is that Lucasfilm logo.
Yeah, I do like the new Lucasfilm logo. I'm not
I do
gonna
too.
lie.
I do too.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Then we got a long time ago, Galaxy Far, Far Away. 'Cause
Second coolest part.
need that on every fucking Star Wars movie ever. And now we get
It is a lawless time.
yeah, this weird bit here, which is, it's really interesting. They just don't go right into a crawl. Like, I don't know. How do you feel about this?
It's almost as if like a Star Wars knockoff movie is trying to copy just like a crawl in some way. Oh no, this isn't a crawl somewhat, but just trying to explain the backstory somewhat. Before.
Yeah,
it almost just kind of feels like that.
I don't know how I feel about this because like you might as well be doing a crawl, but then again, if you do a crawl is too associated with the actual episodes of the saga, and not these spin-offs, which is why Rogue One worked because it just cut to that. The Rogue One
didn't have
drop.
anything explaining it right before.
Yeah, well, you didn't really need to because
no.
the story is a lot better.
Yes,
and there we have our young Han Solo carjacking, which I'm not gonna lie, this is exactly what I would have pictured a young Han Solo to be doing, just carjacking cars and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And then here we get our title drop coming up right here, and there it is. Which is interesting. This is the first Star Wars movie with the title drop, and it's not in space.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and and it even has a Star Wars story. And there's the fucking dice that are jerked off so much in this movie. Like,
they just try to interject so many fan service things that don't.
I thought the dice worked well enough in Last Jedi because it was just sort of there. But the thing was, like.
It's almost like
do you even remember the dice in the original trilogy?
I mean, not unless I'm totally picking it out.
I am not making it up. I've gone back and watched the original trilogy. They are in it for about.
It's not one of those things.
They are in it for 2 shots tops.
It's not one of. It's one of those things where it's like if I go and look for it. You know what I mean? Like, if I go and look for it, then I'll probably find it. But it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, it's right there.
Nope.
So, yeah. But like you said, it's only like in there like a handful of times.
Yep. So now here we have Han Solo going to Proxima's base and Kira with a love interest.
Amelia Clark.
Which, this is...
Amelia Clark. Don't think that she... I think she's... I mean... We all love her on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, totally.
We all love her as Khaleesi, but I feel like as far as her film career goes, she hasn't really gotten that one film that has been... Like
an actual movie.
Yeah, she hasn't really...
Terminator did not do her any favors.
Don't even get me started on Jenny Smith. That's why I like to call it Terminator Jenny Smith. But even in that, too, just like as a young Sarah Connor, she hasn't really gotten the film that... really shows exactly what she's capable of.
Yeah. She tries doing this nerd shit.
She tries. It's just like...
Well, and she's good in this movie, don't get me wrong.
She's fine. I'm not saying she did a bad job.
I don't care for the point of her character because you're like, wait, Han Solo's got a love interest? That's not right because Leia's going to... Where's this going? I don't know. This is dumb. Also, you know what really undermines me here? Han Solo here... He feels way too old for the situation that he's in. Because you notice there's like a lot of kids running around, like they're booting scraps and whatnot, and they're trying to collect stuff.
I'll probably say, I mean, I don't know how old Alden Ehrenreich is, but
this sequence would work a lot better if Han Solo was a little boy. Because there's literally
that's interesting.
No, really, think about it. There's like tons of children gathering junk for this crime boss offering protection. You're about to see her emerging out of the water right here.
Right.
And like they're all kids and whatnot, and I think it'd be actually a lot more. It'd actually be a lot more interesting because like Han Solo is like a boy, like a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old jacking cars, like that's young Han Solo. But instead,
that's like a little punk kid. Like,
but right here, when it's like an adult, you're like, this guy's like way in over his head. Like he shouldn't have trouble at this age. Han Solo shouldn't have trouble at this age of Han Solo. He shouldn't have like trouble like that. But as like 13-year-old Han Solo,
should have gone through everything.
Yeah, dude, like you were saying,
he should be more experienced at this level. It feels like he's too old to be like jacking cars.
Yeah, like like you said when you mentioned young Indiana Jones, they have the smarts to make young Indiana Jones Indiana Jones.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen any episodes of that series.
The only reason,
from what I remember, it was like he was like 14 or something, right? 13, 14.
Yeah, dude, and the only reason why we call him young Han Solo is because Harrison Ford's fucking ancient.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to bet that he's probably the same age as how old Harrison Ford was
in A New Hope.
In A New Hope,
yeah,
I'm willing to bet.
Doesn't work here, does it?
No, it doesn't. It just seems like a young Han Solo movie. It just
Also,
doesn't feel like that.
Can we take a moment to look at the cinematography here? it's really bad. It's really dark. Like that's
you can't hardly see anything.
well, that's the whole thing throughout the movie. Like, and it's not just like through your TVs or whatnot. Even in the theater, I'm like, oh god, it's kind of hard to see this stuff here.
It's one of those things. Yeah, it's like,
oh, and this,
what is going on?
Han Solo faking a thermal detonator with a rock is one of the least Han Solo things I've seen. And that's not even the most least Han Solo thing in this movie. But we'll get to that. And even to this, like this shot right here where it burns to be in the light, I feel like is a jarring...
What looks like a mock xenomorph.
Well, no, it to me, like the fact that those creatures are like nocturnal and are like scared of light or whatnot, I feel like is a fitting metaphor for this movie's cinematography.
It's so dark you can't hardly see anything.
Well, for most of it, like not all of it. But...
I do wonder because I know that throughout the I wonder because they changed directors.
Yes,
right.
Phil Lord and
Phil Lord and Chris Miller were supposed to direct it before, and then then they got fired mid-production by Kathleen Kennedy.
I kind of want to see their movie instead.
I absolutely want to see their movie. I love Lord and Miller, but I often wonder how much of the movie is theirs and how much of the movie is Ron Howard's.
According to IMDb, I actually looked this up beforehand. 20% is Phil and Lord's. Miller and Lord's.
20% of it is Phil and Lord's, and the rest 80 is Ron Howard's.
Yes, Ron Howard filmed and reshot combined 80% of the movie. Now, according to the Directors Guild of America, you need 90% of the footage in order to get directorial credit. Yeah. But they compromised by saying Ron Howard gets director and
I
Miller,
love Ron Howard.
Well, and Miller and Lord get exec producer credit. So that's where they kind of drew the line.
I love Ron Howard, though. I mean, I just feel like that this wasn't. I feel like he was. I don't know. I just feel like this wasn't a project he was capable of doing.
I think he was. It's just like he had like a real thankless job for it.
Yeah.
We still had good moments like this.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
That's kind of cool. Like, and plus the droid costume is really cool.
I shouldn't say that.
Production design. I
shouldn't say that. Ron Howard's a very capable director. At this point.
Totally.
I shouldn't say that.
Although, do you know who their second choice was?
Who was
Joe Johnston. Joe Johnston, who worked on the models of the original Star Wars.
Okay.
Plus, he did Captain America and the Rocketeer. So, like,
and
that could
also Jurassic Park 3.
We don't. Let's just focus on the good movies of Joe Johnston. He did the first Jumanji. Leave him alone.
He did the first Captain America.
Yes, he did. That's what I pointed out.
Yeah,
so, Joe Johnston would have been a good choice too. But either way, we're stuck with Ron Howard. So they're going through this chase here, and you know what's really cool is like the production design. Like
this is very well. Yeah.
I like the speeder look, and I even though like again they're really having a hard. This whole movie is an advertisement for Han Solo's dice, which sad to say, it totally worked on me. I have a pair in my truck.
Yeah, you're like one of the things like, oh, this movie was disappointing. That kind of worked on me, though.
Yeah, it did, but not necessarily for the reason. Like, again, you go back to the original trilogy, I shit you not, there is two tops shots of the movie with the dice in it in the original trilogy.
I know. It's one of those things where you have to look for it.
Well, because apparently the story behind the dice it was like a nod to George Lucas and American Graffiti and his racing car days and whatnot.
Right.
And they were going to put that in Millennium Falcon, but like a couple days into shooting, someone stole it. And they just never replaced it because they're like, fuck it, we got a movie to make. This is a busy movie. We can't like wait around for the fucking dice prop. We got to move on. And Empire and Jedi, they just never bothered like replacing it. And it wasn't until like some keen-eyed probably JJ is looking at the old movies and like, let's bring back the dice and whatnot. And so they did.
Because JJ's one of those. Like...
And now Disney's like that and like, oh shit, we can make that a toy. And and they did, and they made this movie and it's like a whole fucking.
Han Solo has dice.
Yeah. So as a hardcore fan who grew up with movies and scrutinized the movies like every minute frame,
because
seeing the dice,
that was one of those things. Because like I mean, we keep saying this over and over again. I don't remember looking for the dice in the original trilogy.
I remember them being there. I
remember them being there, but I don't remember saying like, oh, that's totally what makes Han Solo's because he's got.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
This is what this movie hinges on. It's like that's why Han Solo's a badass because he's got the dangling dice, and whenever he drives.
It's not just the dice; it's all of his accessories.
Yeah.
When later in this movie, when he gets his blaster, it's like really ceremonious and whatnot. And this whole movie is an advertisement for Han Solo accessories. his ship, his blaster, his dice. Like, fuck, dude.
Pair of McDonald's dice and a McDonald's Happy Meal.
Yeah. So now they're trying to get through. And here's what I really just don't understand is they're like, they kept the again another motherfucking shot with the dice. They boosted like some like hyperdrive fuel and whatnot, and apparently it's really expensive, and they're going to use that to bribe, even though like left and right they're seeing people being detained literally for the same thing, and they're going to do it right here. Like, even over in the modern, you can hear like, have an ID available. People without IDs won't be able to get in line, and yet here they are doing that.
Yeah.
So like, you're breaking your own rules right there. I'm finding it really hard. And besides, like, how is this officer like not just coming straight down on them like fire and fury? Just be.
She's not at the most bit suspicious of them at all.
Well, no, she's going along with them. Although
okay.
And I don't.
You think someone doing their job in that regard would just kind of be like, okay, what do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and interestingly enough, she actually lets him through. The only reason why Kira here, fucking Daenerys, because who can remember the name Kira in this movie? So fucking Daenerys runs through, and she gets captured because.
You know what's honest? I didn't remember her character's name until you just mentioned it.
You can't remember any of these characters' names
except Han and
maybe Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson in this movie. I mean, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't want to say.
Yeah.
Let's not jump ahead.
I will say this though: the production design on this movie, like the fucking Death Star like bars there.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, like
they look cool.
The production design of this whole movie is amazing.
It looks cool.
I actually do want to run around in these sets, especially like the Millennium Falcon set where it's all like pristine and previous before that. But half these sets, I do want to just like run around in them. The only problem is they're not photographed very well.
Is it coming up soon? And again, I've only seen this movie once, so I'm trying to refresh
I know what you're. No, I totally know what you're.
Refresh my brain as to everything that happens in this.
I totally know.
Is it coming up soon? About the most forced reason about how Han Solo gets his name?
Yes, it is. It's coming up, and
I thought so. I thought it was somewhat close.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're looking around. He's trying to find a way in, and they're like. He looks over to the advertisement and like, join the Empire, explore new worlds, learn valuable skills. And what's interesting in here is they're actually playing the Imperial March, but it's the heroic version of the Imperial March. So it's
right,
which is really cool.
Oh,
so,
here it is.
Yeah,
it is.
This guy really has a hard on for playing a pilot. It's not even funny. Like, shut up. We get it. You want to be a pilot, okay? You said it like. We are, hang on, we are, how far are we into this movie? We are 13 and a half minutes in, and he has said...
established so much that
he said, I want to be a pilot, like 3-4 times, like no exaggeration, dude. So,
there it is.
Here it is. Like, Han what? And he's like, who are your people? I don't have any people. Right here, dude. He should
by myself. And then, that's right. I'm by
right
myself.
Here
and the guy literally types in,
Han Solo.
And I'm literally like, you gotta be kidding me.
Right there and then. He should have said Solo. Right there and then. He gave his name to himself, motherfucker.
The moment that he says, after he asks, who are your people? The moment he says, I'm by myself.
Like, bitch, no.
I'm literally like, no.
And then we have this
now we cut to
weird,
3 years later.
Which is a really bad cliche. And we have the Imperial March playing... and we have like this amazing battleground that we can't see because it's in muted browns and it's foggy. It's not very well shot. However, I love the production design because this whole thing right here, this is totally Star Wars meets All Quiet on the Western Front. Like, this is straight up World War I meets Star Wars.
And I fucking love that. You can't see what's going on.
No, dude, that's totally exactly what World War I was. Yeah. Between the mustard gas and, like, the bad... Yeah. Now, this shot right here, boom, when we see Woody Harrelson's character, I'm like, that's fucking cool because I'm like, in one shot, in the way he looks at him, that is like a fucking cowboy that is if Billy the Kid grew up to be a old man officer in World War I. And pass the torch to some, outlaw back in the 1930s or whatnot. Like, because Han Solo is like a hardcore smuggler in the 1930s in space, right? Mm-hmm. He's like Buck Rogers, sort of.
Yeah.
So seeing that, it's like Space Billy the Kid in Space World War One meets is the inspiration for Flash Gordon 1930s. Like that's like that one shot is so cool because it just invites so much history and you understand everything what's going to happen and what it's about. But holy fuck, do they not give you any payoff for it?
No, they don't. Because Woody Harrelson, I mean, there are parts where it just seems like he's playing his character in Zombieland.
Yeah. Oh my god. Give him a Twinkie.
Yeah, that would have been like he finally gets the Twinkie in this movie. I'm like, oh, yep.
Ay. So,
snowballs!
I hate snowballs!
I don't hate the taste. It's the consistency.
So, yeah, and I really love
it's like he's playing his character. It's like sort of a cross between his character in Zombieland and his character in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I still thought, man, what great potential that had.
Because it's Woody freaking Harrelson.
Because it seriously felt like a cowboy lived through being an outlaw through the majority of the Wild West and became an officer in World War One and just inspired this gangster in the 1930s. Like
just kind of talking.
That's
Woody
awesome.
Talks
that would have been awesome,
nowadays.
Man. So yeah, now we got the new characters like the heist characters that are blending into the Imperial Army to pull a job and whatnot. And I still don't remember any of their names. I'm sorry.
I don't either. It's like some of these people come in and out, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you're in this movie. Like they just come in and out, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this person, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like, but again, I still like the sets, and I really love the costumes. Oh my god, the costumes, these Imperial mud troopers, those costumes are
shots kind of remind
dope.
Me of Dunkirk.
Yeah, Dunkirk and a little bit of like Paths of Glory or All Quiet on the Western Front, because like the trenches and whatnot, I'm like that's awesome. Like I love the visual reference, but man, does the story need some help here. Because
it's almost like they're like shouting at the camera, "Hey, look at this! Remember this? There's this moment that you love. Hey, don't these sets look cool?"
They do, dude, and
they do look cool though. I'll give them that.
I actually saw a couple mud troopers.
Like I said before, I am trying to remember this movie.
Yeah.
With all of my being.
Same.
It's so hard.
But there were actually a couple dudes dressed as mud troopers with like a muddy flag, Imperial flag at Celebration. I'm like, that's fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then here we have Han Solo like perceiving like these guys aren't Imperial Army. These guys are thieves on a job, and I want in because fuck the army. I'm a I want to be a pilot.
Because I want to be.
I want to be a pilot. And it's really funny because like 3 years, like they must have been laughing in his face. That's probably why he's an infantryman. Although the only weird question is like, how the hell is Han Solo not?
It's like he gets through all of his programs. So like, can we give your name? Han Solo. I want to be a pilot. Okay, we're gonna get to that.
Although
just give us a second.
I'm just actually want to again another great pilot, and he wants to be a pilot. We get it.
Pilot.
But let's just say, like, you're just going into terms of what this portrayal of Han Solo is. Like, say you're watching this as a fan film, right? Would you believe that this kind of Han Solo could
feels like a fan film to me?
It does.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, I mean, it does, but like, really just, like, take it full on in terms that it would say, if this was an amateur fan film without the budget and whatnot, and you're like, whatever, and you see Han Solo like this, would you have believed he would made it through 3 years of conflict?
No.
He wouldn't have lasted 3 days.
Not at all.
I mean, he would have been like walked in. He would have quit already after 3 years. He wouldn't. He would have either been dead.
Like, I'm too good for this.
He would have been either dead or gone. Like that's.
We know how Han Solo is.
He's a rogue.
He's a
by
rogue.
Nature.
Yes, and he just would have been like, I don't need this anymore. And he would have just left. I don't think he would have died, but I think he would have just been like, fuck this.
See now, if it said 3 weeks later, and this was happening during a training session,
I would believe it if it was like 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks later, and he was in a
sense.
traiin session. Okay,
but it feels like nothing has changed in 3 years.
No, now this part when they throw him in and feed him to the beast, I immediately like, oh fuck, it's Chewbacca. Like even before, just when they mentioned the beast, and they throw him into a pot, I'm like, it's fucking Chewbacca. I know it's Chewbacca. Don't build it up, movie. Like, this whole thing, like, you're going to do the Wampa thing, like an Empire Strike. No, I know it's Chewbacca. You can't fool me. You cannot fool me. It is fucking Chewbacca. And sure enough, The
There he
furry
is.
thing walks up. He's about to blow up, and we're gonna get the reveal in any second now. And this fucking sequence couldn't be more drawn out any fucking longer.
Yeah.
And we see the fur and
It's so obvious.
Chewie.
Too.
There
It's
it
just
is. Like, yes, we get it. It's Chewie. Now here's where throughout this whole movie, the first time I watched it, I'm watching this movie like maybe this will be better. Like this isn't great, but at least it hasn't gotten like terrible. Like it hasn't gotten there yet for me. And it's about to, because I remember in the theater I was sitting there next to my girlfriend watching the movie, and all of a sudden there's a part coming up. Like I know this whole fight thing is like a big thing.
Because they've had to have it.
Yeah. But where is it? Oh, this I thought was a really fun scene. It's like, these two guys he's killing them too fast. Kill them slower. Like the two guards at the top. Like I'm like, yes, okay, that works for me. But it's right here, and I'm like, no.
Oh, that's right.
No.
Oh, that's right.
This is literally the moment where
That's
stopped
right.
being. It's for me. The movie stopped being, like an okay, like yeah, whatever. This is fun and all. This is where it got to the point where I'm like, fuck this movie, fuck it. So oh my god, when he starts growling, that was so out of character for Han Solo, because like
he just automatically knows how.
yeah,
to speak
like
Wookiee.
that's the thing. Like Han Solo may not exactly speak.
Now I've seen some conveniences nowadays.
But see, Han Solo, like, he's like, he may not speak Wookiee or whatnot, but see, the thing is,
That bothered me. Now that you mentioned that, like, that bothered me too. I was always sitting there like, does he just know how to speak Wookiee?
Well,
like,
yeah, in the original trilogy, I just always assumed that their like level of closeness is just so strong that they don't need translating. They just fucking know to communicate with one another through like their eyes and tone, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like Chewbacca is his dog, so like. I mean, it's kind of cool seeing, like, you hear how Chewbacca, like, has, like, a life debt to Han. Like, you hear that in all the anthology stuff and all the legend stories. And it's kind of cool seeing it here, there. But the instant he growls to get to, like, speak to him, I'm like,
that's not their
are
chemistry.
you fucking
That's not
joking?
Their chemistry.
And plus, it's just so awkward, because, like, no one...
also, like, how does that timeline go in between this and A
Yeah.
New Hope?
Yeah. Like,
Does he just, like, automatically be like, okay, I don't need to speak Wookiee anymore?
and I
like,
guess...
we have this, like, we're good now. We have
Yeah.
this good chemistry now.
So I guess this is a twist that one guy whose whole body was covered is actually a small alien in disguise. Woot. Okay. Can you still name that character's name?
No.
No.
I don't know Woody Harrelson's character's name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody in this movie.
Except for Han Solo, and he's so fucking boring.
That's one of the things. It's like that's one of the things that another movie, and so because you see the original trilogy, you don't say Harrison Ford, you say Han Solo.
Yeah, man.
You don't say Carrie Fisher, you say Leia. You don't say Mark Hamill, you say Luke.
Luke Skywalker, man.
In this movie, it's like okay, Han Solo's doing this. And then he talks to Lando, and then Woody Harrelson does this, and then Khaleesi from Game of Thrones does this, and then it's like
it's not good, and so
even in the prequels, think about this. Even in the prequels, you don't say Natalie Portman
or Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
You say fucking Qui-Gon, man.
Yeah. You don't say Hayden Christensen.
Who knew the
Ewan
prequels
McGregor.
would be more memorable than this?
But you get what I'm saying. It's just like
okay, we gotta stop because this scene right here. What the hell is this? I
forgot about.
I actually sat back in my seat, turned to my girlfriend, and I said, "Was that really necessary?"
And it lasts like 5, and it lasts like not even 5 seconds.
I don't care. I look at that, I'm like, is it really necessary to show
like...
Han and Chewie in the shower together? Was that necessary?
It's just, I guess it's just the movie's.
I actually had no words for that. Because I didn't even care what the fuck this movie threw at me. I'm like, like when I went to go tell
I completely forgot
when
about that.
when I typed in my thoughts for Solo, I'm like, dude, is it really necessary to show Han and Chewie in the shower together? Like, is that even the movie itself calls out on it? Like, Alden just like looks up at Chewie and he's like, couldn't we have taken turns? Like, yeah, couldn't you have? Because like, what the fuck? Although I will admit, like, the new guy, Jonah. Fuck, I forget it. I forget his name at the moment. But the new guy playing Chewbacca, he's actually fucking brilliant. And, like, you totally believe that's like him in between his performance and Peter Mayhew's performance. Like, both of them are so seamless. So at least props to him. Like, at least he brings some really good stuff to the table playing Chewbacca. It's kind of cool seeing, like, you know, the binocular logos and whatnot again. Like, that's always really cool to look at. Don't remember her name either.
I don't remember
anyone. Like, this movie is so forgettable. It's like it really is like a crime. And this is like the heist part of the movie. Like, they actually build this movie as like a heist movie, which makes sense. Han Solo is a smuggler and that.
Yeah.
But this heist is like maybe 15 minutes, like from here to the end of the heist. It's like 15-20 minutes total, and you're left with the rest of the movie.
I feel like maybe it should have been the whole movie.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, although it's interesting that it's a train heist, you know, adding to that whole space western feel to it.
Like, just have that whole be the build up to the last, you know.
Well, the whole build up has always been like the Kessel Run.
Because
you know, it's
at least for this. Well, at least for this movie.
Well, even so, like, it should have been like the movie should have been like a build up to the Kessel Run, which is, you know, what Han Solo is constantly boasting. This is a ship that made Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. So even though it's like they said it was like 12.95 or something like that, and Han just likes to. I will admit that the fact that he rounds it down to 12, even though it's closer to 13, is very Han Solo.
Yeah,
that I'll take.
Yeah.
Although interestingly, scientific, like, I know we're skipping like across like a lot of this this banter and whatnot, but you can take a piss any time these cats like sit down and talk, because it's fucking boring. So anyway,
I even did that thing in the movie theater that I never do, and I sometimes, you know, just I check my phone.
Checking your phone during a Star Wars movie.
That's my point.
Man, what the hell?
You know, like, you shouldn't have to check your phone in any movie, really.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. This should be a PSA for everybody. Don't check your phone in a movie theater.
But for a Star Wars movie?
For a Star Wars movie, it's an even more bigger crime when you do.
Yep.
And this, I mean...
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
But going back to the whole Kessel Run thing, turns out, like, George Lucas writing it didn't realize a parsec was a measure of distance, not time. So they had to figure out how to do that. And while they do it is actually kind of clever, even though, again, it's kind of shot poorly or whatnot. That the Kessel Run is like a fixed measure of like a fixed route.
Oh, here is this a forced romance?
Yes.
Yes, this is a forced romance. What's so weird about this, because I had no idea, where it's like, oh, I guess they're partners or whatever. I guess they're partners in the whatever mission they're trying to do. But then the moment they kiss, and I'm like, oh, are they lovers?
Yeah. And it begs the question.
It's not really established at all.
And it begs the question, like, what happened between this, A New Hope, and Empire? Because he gets together with Leia.
Yeah.
Like, they just totally said, like, straight up, we had a kid named Ben Solo. Who is this character, Kira? I want to know. But the movie never tells you. And the moment they actually start to get like
That's
a bit of an
Kira, okay.
Yeah,
I just remembered it now.
They just and by the time they actually like start giving you some insight to who her character is, the movie fucking ends. Like, how frustrating is that?
Because she shows up at different points in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, and there he is. He gets his fucking blaster pistol from again, this movie is just another fucking commercial for Han Solo's accessories.
It doesn't even feel like fan service.
No, it doesn't.
It just feels like, okay, we gotta throw this in. It almost like they just throw it in at like different points where it's just like, okay, we gotta have moments where it somewhat feels like a Han Solo movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's almost like they were writing the script and they were like, okay, how do we connect this to Star Wars? Okay, give him his yeah.
You know what would have been actually a really interesting move, at least for marketing, if because you know how on IMAX shows they'll like show you like the first 6 minutes of a movie or whatnot in IMAX.
Oh yeah.
Do like a little prologue. Mm-hmm. What if they had shown this sequence?
You know what I remember? I remember paying to see, and we're going a little bit off topic here.
That's fine.
For this movie, we don't give a shit. But I remember paying to see Mission Impossible.
To see the opening of The Dark Knight?
I think, which Mission Impossible was it? It was the year before Dark Knight Rises. I think it was Ghost Protocol, maybe?
Yeah.
I think it was Ghost Protocol. I remember paying to see that movie in IMAX because before the movie, they had 5 minutes opening of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. So, but can you imagine if they had shown just this sequence on its own? You know, actually, I think the movie would have done better if they had just shown this sequence. It doesn't
even have to be the first opening 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
just show this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm watching this. I'm like,
I
would have watched that. I'm like,
this could have made a good opening scene for a movie.
Oh, dude, how?
Maybe.
No, it totally could have. Like the whole carjacking thing. Fuck that. That should have been for when he was a little kid. For this age, Han Solo. Oh, dude, totally. A fucking train heist like this? Hell yes.
I don't know how that would have been. Like maybe they've.
Structurally,
maybe if they would have had him carjacking for like a brief little thing in like
a flashback or
just
something
like
that.
Just like a little flashback at the beginning where it's like, oh, Han Solo as a kid, and then it cuts into this where he's grown up and it's the train heist.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have fared a little bit better.
Maybe. I will say this though, the train, the way it moves, this is totally going to be a Disney ride in Galaxy's Edge, isn't it? Like going on a fucking heist with Han Solo on the train.
Maybe. The way I don't know. This movie wasn't successful enough.
Well, dude, the way this movie...
but who do we care? It's Disney.
Well, the way it moves, like the way the train moves, like how it shifts in the tracks and whatnot.
Feels like a ride. Like
it feels like a Disney ride. It totally feels like a Disney ride,
yes,
which is appropriate because this is Disney era stuff. And like again, the designs are pretty cool. Like I know that they're really.
I like the design of the train.
Yeah, like they're these guys are really trying hard to make sure the costumes and the sets and whatnot, they all feel like they're in the same universe of the original trilogy that we grew up on and whatnot. So I appreciate them for that, but I just don't have any stakes in this because I don't care about the characters. That's the main reason why this sequence isn't blowing my mind is because like all the characters in here. Don't really give a shit about. Even Han Solo.
I kind of go back to. Think about the last...
Actually, I take that back. I do care about Chewbacca. When Chewbacca's like about to fall, even though I know he's going to make it out okay, like, fucking rescue Chewie. Like, just like, Chewie's the only one that I'm rooting for, and that's...
Another thing that just popped into my head when you're talking about caring about the characters during this train heist.
Yeah.
Make it seem like the end of Back to the Future, or I guess maybe not the end, but the big climax of Back to the Future 3, Part 3.
Ooh!
When they have like the big train, when they have the trains going down.
Shit,
going
they should have just hired Rob Zemeckis for this. That's another really good. That's actually not a bad director's choice for this movie.
Robert Zemeckis?
Yeah, dude.
I could see that.
Yeah, they already. I mean. Oh wait, no, they didn't get Alan Silvestri to do the score. I'm thinking of Avengers. I'm still on an Avengers high, people.
That's a whole other.
Yeah, it is.
But my point is with that is that you care about those characters in Back to the Future Part 3.
Yeah.
You know.
And well, plus that was literally the third act. Set piece. This is like the open, more or less
well
like
established with those characters.
Yeah, this is more or less like a. Where are we in the movie? We are 34 minutes in, so this is kind of like. The climax.
Literally, like where are we? Oh, yeah.
This is like the climax to the first act of the movie in a way. So I mean, like I guess they have like an idea where they want to go, but it just doesn't land the landing mark.
No.
So now apparently like pilot's been hit and some fucking shit's going on. A lot of shit going. Chewie. Chewie! And this is where we get to see Chewbacca use up his full strength again, where he just rips the link to the train open. And how much cooler, because that one shot that kind of evoked an entire history and what the idea of the movie should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine? Like, just try to wrap around your head, Billy the Kid, instead of being gunned down at the age of 21. Lived to be like in his 50s or even 60s and was pulling jobs and literally just got all the way to Europe and posed as a German officer in World War One, and some new scrappy kind of new bright-eyed hero. He takes him under his wing, and after Billy the Kid finally dies in combat, this kid goes home to the 1930s and becomes like one of the big prohibition smuggler gangsters, like Han Solo. Like, if you can imagine, if you used that kind of analogy for this movie, this would have been an amazing character study for Han Solo. Instead, it's literally just like a feature-length adaptation of Han Solo's non-existent Wikipedia page.
I almost thought you said Wikipedia page.
No, that's totally what it is.
Yeah. That's what you said.
The official Star Wars Wikipedia page is called Wikipedia.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So that's what this movie comes off as. Although it's really cool to see the Imperial probe droid shooting back at her, which is that's always really cool to see. And then these cats, like these I think they're they're like space bikers, I'm guessing, which is a really cool idea. The leader of them definitely has the coolest costume of the entire thing.
They kind of look like something out of Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max meets Star Wars.
Mad Max meets Star Wars, which if you would have pitched that to me right there, I'd have been like, awesome.
Mad Max meets Star Wars meets Harley Davidson. Like, that's dope. That's dope as hell.
If you would have pitched that movie to me, I'd be like, sweet, let's make that shit.
Made by the guys who did Lego Movie and fucking Into the Spider-Verse. Like, hell yeah. I'll watch that. I still really want to see what the hell... Because apparently when...
I'm still always curious as to where their movie ends and where Ron Howard's begins. Because I know you said there's like 20% of it is theirs and like...
Actually, I think...
That's one thing about this movie that just was kind of dead on arrival for me, was when they switched directors mid-production.
Well, I mean, you know the whole reason behind it?
Because, well, I think Kathleen Kennedy didn't like the direction they were going, right?
It's kind of. It was actually more Lawrence Kasdan who wrote the screenplay to this movie.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was Kathleen Kennedy's
decision. Well, it was Kathleen Kennedy's decision. And, of course, then this character dies.
You know that bullshit thing where they go, oh, they left because of quote-unquote creative differences.
Yeah. So that character's dead. I honestly felt like that character had a little bit more potential because Star Wars needs some more ladies in the world, especially since Phasma kind of got shit canned in Last Jedi. Spoilers, I guess.
Everybody's seen that.
What?
I agree with you. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I mean, I guess spoilers. I mean, if you cats at home haven't already seen this movie, you should just see it for yourself.
Oh, look,
again.
I know a lot of people who haven't.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who haven't seen this movie.
Which I don't blame them.
Because like, when I used to tell people, like, yeah, I went and saw Han Solo, and they were like, really? Why? And I'm like, I was curious enough. Mm-hmm. Because it is a Star Wars movie.
No, I'm just saying. But I
agree with you. I feel, yeah.
If you haven't seen the movie, you really probably should check it out for yourself and not, listen to us. But if you still want to stick around, that's totally fine by us. But the just spoilers, the bikers, I'm just gonna say it right here and now, their leader is also a woman, and that actress was actually shown up at Celebration. She's cute as hell.
Did she really?
Yes, totally, dude. I was 10 feet from her when she was giving an interview.
Cool.
But the fact that she's a woman was kind of cool. It just, although when she finally takes the helmet off at the very end, I'm like, oh, it's a gal. Right on.
Yeah.
Do I remember much about her character? No. I kind of want to see a mini series about those her little band of her little gang. Mm-hmm. So that'd be kind of cool. But whatever. And we have a little funeral service for characters again that we're not invested in a whole lot.
I should care.
I really should. I feel like I kind of should, but no, not really.
It's oh, funerals. Oh, this is a funeral. So this is a service. This should be sad. It's just not. Because you don't care about these people.
You know what's weird? Han Solo in this movie is famous for he's not good at following orders or listening and whatnot. He's yeah, but that's because he's good at listening to himself. Here, he's just kind of an incompetent idiot, which sucks.
Just taking orders, yeah.
Yeah, because when he isn't taking orders, he's being an idiot. The only time he actually lucks out is when he's playing cards with Lando later on down the line.
That's right.
But otherwise, he's not really as competent as the movie wants to.
He's a complete idiot. But put him in front of a set of cards.
Yeah. Maybe he should have been.
That man is a fucking genius.
Maybe he should have just been a gambler instead of a pilot.
Maybe he should have been the color. Or, no, the color money wasn't cards.
Like pool. Casino?
Yeah. Casino. Yeah. Like this movie, yeah.
Star
if
Wars...
Martin Scorsese would have directed this movie.
Actually, if we already got Star Wars version of Casino, and that was Canto Bight and Last Jedi.
That's a good point.
We don't talk about that sequence too much. So, but yeah, is Beckett. Woody Harrelson's name is Beckett. That's what I remember. Beckett is offering to,
That's just because now that we have the subtitles.
Yes.
It says Beckett.
Yeah, it's all sort of coming back to me. But now they're gonna go
slowly but surely for me.
Banding together and whatnot and teaming up because that's what smugglers do, I guess. Especially for this next big job, for a big old risk, and of course Chewie's on board. What are you talking about, man? I do like his alternate bandolier. Again, this movie's just a fucking commercial for accessories. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, right. Yeah, the whole reveal of the biker chick just being a lady, and like, because the whole time we were brought to believe that it was like a guy the whole time. Like, you guys, because I've seen good feminism and just really, but that felt really forced. That's just me. So now we're gonna. Now I believe we are about to go meet the main villain of our story, which is played by Paul Bettany.
I remembered that. I remember the actors.
Don't remember the name again. It's fucking Vision / Jarvis.
Was that a Ron Howard thing, by the way, casting Paul Bettany, or was Paul Bettany already a part of it? Because I remember
I'm pretty sure he was already a part of it.
Okay, because I remember Paul Bettany had worked with him in what's the one? Da Vinci Code.
Oh, okay.
Da Vinci Code and all those the other ones.
No, I think it was totally a coincidence because
was it a coincidence?
I'm pretty sure because like Disney's like.
Because when I saw that, I was like, oh, was that a Ron Howard decision getting Paul Bettany? Did they have a villain already play the actor?
No,
I don't know. Maybe he was already there. Maybe.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure he was already there.
Mm-hmm.
This is some intriguing production design. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the head in a jar thing is interesting.
Head in a jar singing.
I mean,
reminds me of Futurama.
I was totally thinking Futurama. But you know, the galactic bar. These are really hard to do. Because, like, even back in, like, 77 doing the Cantina sequence, like...
Well, this came out right after Last Jedi. I remember thinking, wow, they're really obsessed with the...
Like, the clubs.
And bars and the clubs. Here we are. Here we go. Here's Paul Bettany. What was his villain's character's name?
I don't remember.
Hold on. They'll probably say it. They'll probably say it.
We'll find out eventually. Although what's interesting is, like, you know, again, spoilers, but Darth Maul shows up back in the day. Back at the end of the movie, like he had like a little. He had a little.
The big reveal.
He had a little Darth Maul like little saber thing.
Yeah.
Nice foreshadowing. But yeah, these bar club things are always kind of tricky because they can come off as either really creative or really lazy. Like you remember the Dexter's Diner in episode 2? It was just a space 50s diner and it's. No creativity, nothing interesting about it.
Hey, Obi-Wan!
Like, you need to go, like, full...
That's a bad impression of whoever that guy was.
You need to go fucking full Return of the Jedi, Jabba's Palace, Entourage, or you go home. Like, you really gotta go way out there with lots and lots... Not just dudes in weird costumes, but you gotta have lots of fucking Muppets and CG characters running around. Mm-hmm. And not just, like, a sprinkle of them here and there. Like, you really got to go deep or you go home, because I think that's one of the big issues. This is probably one of the few sets that I don't want to walk around in.
And this is where we're reunited with
Kira.
Kira.
Yep. But, and apparently...
and he's like, oh.
And apparently Kira's...
oh, my God.
Apparently Kira's original design, she was supposed to be like an alien creature, but they decided against it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And, yeah, again, I'm really interested in what Miller and Lord's original vision would have been like, because from what I read, They were thought that they were hired to do like a straight up comedy, like a screwball comedy kind of thing, which is kind of weird because it's Han Solo. And then like
Could have worked though.
maybe.
Maybe it could have worked.
But the other thing is apparently Lawrence Kasdan, who penned the script for this, which is so fucking weird because this is the guy who wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
Right, that was one of those things where I was like, okay, Lawrence Kasdan's doing this.
Apparently he got
If they've gotten the old screenwriters back, I was like, okay, I'm all on board.
No, because apparently when
At first, before I saw it.
when Lawrence Kasdan, he was actually really mad at Miller and Lord because he actually came to the set and he's like,
I'd never heard this.
Yeah, he apparently.
I always thought it was a feud between them and Kathleen Kennedy.
It was, but it was
That's
most.
what I always thought.
It was
I didn't know it was
mostly.
a feud between Kasdan and Lord and Miller.
It was mostly.
know that.
It was between Kathleen Kennedy, but it was mostly with Lawrence Kasdan because apparently the guys at Miller and Lord, they're really improv heavy, and Kasdan was really Kasdan was pissed that he wasn't shooting his script like word for word.
Stick to one of those.
Dude.
To script guys.
So at one point he actually,
which you can understand where he's coming from.
Yeah,
to some degree.
And he actually wound up coming
to
those
guys where it's like a Tarantino thing where it's like you better stick to my script.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
So, but he actually wound up visiting the set and started to fucking take over the directors, and to the point where like the Miller and Lord just kind of shoved him off, and like halfway through production, like there was like a 2-week break in shooting. And then Kathleen Kennedy and like their editor, they saw like a very rough cut of what they had, and they were kind of horrified at what they did because again Miller and Lord thought they were like doing like just like a funny comedy, and they were like, what the hell is this? And so they just like Kathleen Kennedy just kind of looked at it right there and then, and he's like, fire those two and hire someone else. And so Ron Howard, Ron Howard came on board. And
Robert Zemeckis would have been an interesting choice going back.
He would have too. Same with Joe Johnston.
Yeah.
And so watching that and like, he reshot.
I'd love to see Robert Zemeckis go back to sci-fi.
He finished the schedule. Ron Howard finished the schedule that they were supposed to do, and did like 5 weeks worth of reshoots, and that amounted
Wasn't this
to
like really close to like the build up of release date too?
Yeah.
Wasn't it kind of like they were nearing the release date too, from what I remember?
I think so too. Yeah. So you can probably tell
3 months in advance or something.
Yeah. So
I don't know, but I could be wrong.
But the fact
it's like one of those
It was just the whole idea that Miller and Lord were just like really, really playing on improvisation and
don't they
played
like
up
hardly
their comedy.
want to talk about this now? Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're like really protective about it. That's actually your touchy line. That's actually a perfect summation of how Miller and Lord were like looking at Lucasfilm, like, God, someone meme that. Just like put label Han Solo, Chris Miller, and Phil
and just
Lord,
have a thing at the bottom.
And
you're touchy.
And then put the line, you're touchy, and then label Chewbacca as Lucasfilm. Like, that would be a perfect meme right there. Mm-hmm. So. And Paul Bettany here, I swear to God, I give this guy so much props because he's a great actor, and he's trying so. Oh, actually, if you look really closely, I'm going to sidetrack before I, suck Paul Bettany's cock for a moment, metaphorical cock here for a moment. But look really, really, really closely on his treasure tables in the background. I'm going to point it out, like right there. Like I know you got cats back at home, but. If you look behind Han Solo where he's sitting, it's a little out of focus and it's hard to see. It shows up a little bit better in some shots.
Okay,
but
I'm looking at it now.
If you look closely, it's actually the idol of fertility that appears in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, shit.
Which is a really cool little Easter egg, I'm not going to lie. Like
that is
it totally is.
Shit,
like I'm gonna point out like
that's totally yep.
It's really cutty right now, so it's kind of hard to see for you to point it out, but apparently it's right behind Woody Harrelson. So if you cats kind of keep at home, like kind of keep a lookout for it, because like this whole job talk, whatever, like they're trying to do sort of things like whatever. Who cares? We're more interested in the background props because they have because apparently this movie
start looking at the background props instead of what's actually going on.
Well, I mean the movie's already kind of obsessed with background props, being that they're sucking on the dice is so hard. So, but You probably missed it, but either way, like right behind where, right over Han Solo's shoulder.
You literally would have to pause it at home.
It's the idol of fertility.
We're not pausing this here, but you would.
Point is, the fucking idol of fertility from Raiders of the Lost Ark is
Yeah.
in this movie, which is a nice little Easter egg for the set and design and whatnot. What were
you saying about Paul Bettany?
Paul Bettany, like, he tries really hard
Yes,
here
he does.
to play like a memorable, like, sinister villain.
I actually think Paul Bettany in a sinister villain role would be fantastic.
He just needs a much better script.
Yeah, exactly.
And also same with
he'd be great as a
same with Alden here, because like
I heard that Paul Bettany was the villain in this. I was like, okay, that could
be cool. I kind of wish that they did like a mocap thing with him. There it is, like over Han Solo's shoulder.
All right.
There it is. Okay, you saw it. And of course, he's still ragging about being a fucking pilot. How many times? That should be the solo drinking. That should be your solo cup.
Mention how many times Han Solo is a pilot.
Wants to be a
pilot.
And you have to drink it out.
And we're about, what are we, about an hour into this movie?
We are...
Where are we in this?
We are 51 minutes in.
Okay, we're 51 minutes in this movie, and we're nearly an hour. Take a shot of whatever you choose of how many times Han Solo says, I want to be a pilot.
No, that should just be like a straight-up drinking game.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. You have to drink it out of a red Solo cup. I'd say I'm going to hell, but I've been here for the last 5 years.
You were building up to get to that last joke.
Oh, totally, dude. And it was amazing.
Just build up to that punchline.
Yeah.
Knock it out of the park.
But so here's where we have Kira says, I know a guy, and we're like, oh fuck, I know who this guy is. It's going to be fucking Lando.
It's Lando.
Yep, like,
they allude to it so much. It's like, make it naturally happen. It's just like, well, I know a guy. It's like earlier where it's like, feed him to the beast.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's like you know exactly what's gonna happen. And worse yet, this movie.
They might. I've joked about that. Okay. I've joked about this before. They might as well turn to the camera and be like, "Well, I know a guy."
Yeah, the bot fighting, I think, that's actually a really cool thing. Like you would think in a world full of like robots and droids, like there wouldn't be like robot cockfights. There he is, man.
Childish Gambino.
Best part of the movie by far, because goddamn, like. If you were to ask me what a young Lando Calrissian looked like,
it would be Donald Glover.
No, like not just Donald Glover, but the way he characterizes him.
Oh yeah,
perfection.
Yeah.
It's to the point
I'm just a huge fan of Donald Glover anyway. Just from him as an actor and him as a musician.
Right.
I just love everything the guy does.
Right. Going back to I really like the bot fights a lot. That's a really cool thing. Like, kind of surprised we haven't seen that before in a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. And I love the creature designs and running around. Although I really wish I could fucking see them through the Taco Bell meat sauce filter. Like,
oh, that's great.
Oh, like look at the colors are just
Taco Bell meat sauce filter.
Like it's so ugly and hazy. Great. Like, I understand they're trying to be like this underground seedy,
yeah.
But I gotta still be able to see this stuff, man. You can still have that. You can still
make it look cool and seedy and have it be lit great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But not here. Although I really love this whole thing where he's like, everything you've heard about me is true, and he just like a pimp holds out his glass and he's just like waiting for it to drink, like just the way he holds his body and how he interacts with everyone, he fucking perfect. But you know what's really cool about this scene?
To Donald Glover.
Yes, you know what's really cool about this scene though? Apparently they shot it in with like several different pans, and they were able to recreate it in VR. You can actually watch this scene in VR with 360-degree view, which is kind of cool. So you can totally see how that goes down. And you know what's another really cool thing about this movie, that this scene in particular that I really love? It actually gives you a concrete way of what Sabak is, the card dealing. Like, it's
right.
Because like, as I knew watching this movie,
this is where we get a glimpse of that. Oh, Han Solo isn't an idiot.
Yeah, well, it's not just that, but just the game itself.
Yeah.
Sabacc,
Yeah.
which, or Sabacc. They like to fuck with the colloquial terms. But,
I've heard Sabacc. I've heard Sabacc.
but what's really cool is
I think I say Sabacc.
like watching this scene, I'm like, oh shit, this means Disney's totally gonna put out a game, like an actual game that you can buy and play, with a rule book and everything, and you can actually play Sabacc just like Han Solo. Like, that's actually kind of cool. Like, I'm okay with buying.
Yeah.
I'm okay with buying Disney's.
You can buy that bit of merchandise.
Yeah,
from
I am
this
totally
movie.
fine. You know what? Damn it! This movie may be nothing but a commercial, but at least it sold me on the Sabacc game. I really need to put that on my Christmas list.
Give us Sabacc.
Although I really do like
Sabacc,
some of the
Sabacc,
creature design interactions here, like that one guy who's like, "Hey, keep your eyes on your cards, all of them." Like, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, man, like watching this, like, that's actually Han Solo. I can actually kind of see this.
This is the part where it feels like Han Solo.
Yeah, interestingly enough.
This is the part of the movie where it's like, okay, this feels like Han Solo. Because the movie leading up before this absolutely does not.
Yeah.
This feels like some dude that they call Han Solo because he's alone and by himself.
Yeah, and plus here, it's kind of validated that he loses, which is also an interesting twist.
Yeah,
I actually thought he was going to kind of win straight up here. Like he was going to win the ship, but Lando's like, but you have to do this, this, and this with me. Like, this job that you're pulling, like, I have to go along or whatnot. But he totally loses, but that's because Lando's fucking cheat. And that's so Lando.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on in the movie, when he beats him fair and square, like, that whole line from Empire is like, that whole line, I beat you, I won her fair and square, like, actually has some resonance. Which is another thing about this movie. When you watch this movie and you watch Empire Strikes Back, do you feel anything different? Like anything? Like when 3PO hooks up to the Millennium Falcon, is like, I can't understand a word of this word, your computer's dialect, or any of the interactions between Han and Lando. Like, do you feel any different of how you used to?
I mean,
not really.
No.
Because you know why? This movie's fucking forgetful, and you're just like, Empire is way more memorable. Yeah. Empire will stay with me for a lifetime. Yeah, and I think the camera work is just so bad. I can't. It took me a moment to figure out that was actually Lando, and apparently now that he came so close, he's gonna. I don't even know why he actually attends them on the job. This job coming up. I don't know. But they're desperate for a ship, and because they need a ship, a movie needs to happen. And of course, like, as per fucking usual, Lando's stealing Han's pussy away from him, as usual. We so need a Lando movie with Donald Glover. Like, fuck.
At the most, it'll probably come out on Disney Plus.
Probably. Like, we'll see. I don't know, man. It's just. And apparently, I actually heard when they were making this is supposed to be the first of a Han Solo trilogy. Can you imagine watching two more of these?
This would have been the first to lead into a Han Solo trilogy?
Yeah, which is really strange because, like, again, spoilers for the movie, but at the very end of the movie, they're like, there's this job that a Hutt there's this gangster on Tatooine that has a very important job for us, and that's supposed to segue into A New Hope, which you're like, if you're going to do a whole trilogy, how many movies can fit in between that amount of time between that and the cantina scene in New Hope? Like, really, how much time can you actually squeeze in there? I don't know. And then, L337. This droid.
Right.
I don't know how to feel about this. I'm going to let... Because you remember this droid, right?
Oh, yes, I do. It's all coming back to me now. It just feels like they were just trying to... It's like this movie was going for its own C-3PO.
Well, female C-3PO.
Female C-3PO, yeah.
I don't even think that. Like,
Okay, here we go. Okay, this is where it feels like a Ron Howard movie.
Yes.
Because every single, I don't know, maybe, I guess maybe nearly every single Ron Howard movie has a cameo from his brother Clint.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, that and his wife.
And it's... Oh yeah, that's right too. But I think Clint has been in even more.
Yeah.
This is the part where it feels like a Ron Howard movie. It's just like, okay, how do I fit my brother into this movie somehow?
And there he is.
There he is. But anyway, back to the back
the
to
L337.
Wait, who's the actress who does the voice for this?
Oh my god! Well,
I'll look it up.
It's not just the voice. Like it's
The
also
motion,
well, no, it's actually a costume.
the costume motion capture.
Yeah, it's actually a from what I remember reading, it's a costume that she wore with like combined with some shots are puppetry, obviously. But it's a costume with like a lot of wires and green screen that they eventually remove and whatnot. So it kind of looks like an actual robot. So it's a combination of things. But the actress that pardon me here, the actress who plays her is I'm still in the middle. It up because I suck, but that's Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Okay.
Yeah. And she serves as Lando's quote-unquote companion, because that whole thing where Lando is clearly having sex with the droid. And of course, there's the Millennium Falcon. I'm sorry, like. I know.
But you figured the Millennium Falcon was going to show up at some point.
I guess I timed that bad. I timed that bad. Like, I'll get into that because it's just so bizarre. But yeah, there's the Millennium Falcon.
Which
everyone,
you thought it was probably going to show up at some point in the movie.
Although, how do you feel about the new design?
Maybe they should have. The new design.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, it didn't bother me.
It didn't either.
But I think that, yeah.
Well, see, I've always had like the impression that the Millennium Falcon has had a very long history of captains and whatnot, and has been modified repeatedly, not just by Lando, but by people who's had it previously. And it's just this ancient rust bucket of a roadster muscle car spaceship. So when we see it in this movie and it's all clean, I'm like, oh, that's cool, but that doesn't fit my timeline, and I'm confused and torn, and so because again, I've always kind of felt like the Falcon was still kind of beat up when Lando had it and whatnot, and when Solo gets it, he finally does some own modifications.
I actually like the more beat up version of the Millennium
Oh, dude,
Falcon.
totally, any day.
Seems like it's been places, it's been through shit.
Yeah, like the fact that it's like literally held together by duct tape.
Like I said, this didn't bother me that it was a new pristine Millennium Falcon. But still, I just prefer like
it's cool. It's really cool seeing.
It's
pristine,
cool seeing it for sure.
But it just doesn't feel like it matches the character of the Falcon timeline wise, because it feels like it should have been modified several different times by several different pilots over eons of to the point where the history's log of the ship is so fucked up and all over the place. Like it's like buying like Han Solo winning the Millennium Falcon. It should have been winning it on an auction in Craigslist. This car has had such a long history and so many modifications and replacement parts and slapped onto it that it's much more interesting when you don't know that stuff. And
this wasn't a thing where a lot of people were complaining about it because not enough people saw the damn movie.
Yeah. But again, it's pretty fucking cool to see pristine
pristine I wasn't bothered by it.
I was bothered for it, but I not to the point where I'm like, this is the worst part of the movie. No, there's far worse.
There's far worse.
Like the growling bit at the earlier part where Han and Chewie meet. That's like the worst.
That did it for you.
Yeah.
That was the moment where you.
This is pretty cool.
Okay,
though.
that's
seeing
the Millennium Falcon.
Well, that and
what we know and love.
That and L3 literally plugging into the Falcon to be like the ship's navigational systems. That's kind of cool to see and whatnot. And this, yes, fucking the chess game. They actually brought back Phil Tippett to do the motion. They literally did motion capture with the
like
chess
old
pieces
school
again.
Type of, yeah.
Yep, they totally brought that back again.
Oh yeah, see, that's cool to me. That
Yeah.
looks like the That's one thing I loved a lot about what Disney did when they were bringing back Star Wars. They were bringing back a lot of those old practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things I loved. It's like, okay, like, yeah.
What's really cool is they actually brought back Phil Tippett, who did all the creature designs for those chess characters.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They brought back some of the old people.
And even cooler is for The Force Awakens when they did that, they actually literally picked up where the game left off when we last saw it in 1977. So when you see like the one character take out the one and just go, you actually see the same frame of where it starts in Force Awakens, where the other guy gets up and beats that guy down, and then it turns off. So it's literally about coming full circle. And then we have Kira here in the closet of the Millennium Falcon, which is so weird because like the set feels like a future apartment that I kind of want to live in. But if you noticed earlier, the cape that she was trying on and looking in the mirror with, that's the same cape that Lando wears in Empire, which is pretty cool. Like if you look closely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it totally
now
is.
It's
all of Lando's capes. Lando has a cape fetish right there, like Lando has
the coolest capes in them.
Yes, he does. Coolest capes in the galaxy.
Coolest capes in the galaxy.
All imported and whatnot. Whatever that means in the galaxy, because it feels like everything's imported. But yeah, Kira here, like they're doing like the Empire Strikes Back moment where they get,
This is very reminiscent of.
It totally is. Like there it is, like big kiss. Although the sad part is, like C-3PO and R2-D2 are in. This is the only Star Wars movie with C-3PO and R2-D2 movie. That's the reason why this movie sucks. C-3PO and R2-D2 isn't in this. Rogue One had him. That was good.
That is the main problem with this movie.
No,
the main problem.
No. It's just suffers from your Star Wars movie is cursed if those two aren't in it.
That's a good point.
With the exception of the holiday special.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
So
maybe think about this doesn't have C-3PO or R2.
It doesn't. It's the first one. It's the first Star Wars movie to not have any lightsabers in it. Rogue One had Darth Vader's lightsaber,
even though Rogue One was just like a brief second.
That had a lightsaber in it.
Yeah.
This one does not have any lightsabers. Yeah. No lightsabers in the. No, I take that back. There is a lightsaber in this movie, but it's with Darth Maul where he activates it at the very end.
Are we gonna say Darth Maul's in this movie already?
Yeah. I already spoiled it for him.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But anyway, they were obviously trying to do the whole Empire Strikes Back kiss thing. Problem is they don't have C-3PO to come in there and cock block the whole thing. So
please, I'm sorry, we have to get
I've restarted the hypo generator. Thank you very much. Oh, you're perfectly welcome. Like there was no cock block there. That's what made that scene work. So now they're getting.
That's why this movie sucks. This doesn't have a cock block.
You boy. So yeah. And then the whole equal rights thing with this droid. I honestly don't know how to feel about that because, like, this droid is constantly writing about droid rights, which I'm like, yeah, I mean they are slaves to be bought and sold and whatnot, but like I feel like it's getting into a weird minefield of a discussion because L337 is like. Honest Trailers put it best. Like she's either a woke version, she's like either a stupid version of wokeness, or a woke version that's really dumb, or a version of wokeness that's really dumb, like a dumb version of wokeness or a woke version of dumb. I don't know which. I really wish I could articulate it better, but in this bit where. L337 totally implies that she and Lando are totally having sex. That's unsettling. Like this whole thing, weird. Like what? How? Even she's like, well, even because even this part here where like there's a line where Kira just like looks at her like, how does that even work? Yeah, right here.
There
How
we
does
go.
it?
How would that work?
It work?
It
No,
works.
no. I want to know how.
It's
How?
almost like they're replying. It's like, how does that work? It's almost like she turns and goes,
It works.
It works.
I want to know how in the fuck is, because look, I know Lando is like a real charmer, but like, why is he wasting it? Why is he having sex with a female version of his droid? I don't explain, movie. Please explain.
He's so charming to the rope and so charming to the droid. Still,
I just don't understand it. Although it's really weird seeing like the escape pod on the front of it on there, and not seeing the little notch in his ship at the front of it. Like, that design really did kind of throw me off. But again, whatever. It's the same thing. Like, it's cool to see like pristine Millennium Falcon, but yeah, it just doesn't really work for my sense of time, the timeline for the characters that I know. And here we're on, I believe we're actually on Kessel. Now, this place has been talked about like relentlessly in Star Wars lore.
Yes.
Like, it's always been like the Spice Mines of Kessel. It's like one of the worst places in the galaxy. And there's the skiff guard, disguise that Lando uses. Apparently, Hans kept it all these years in his closet, like all this time, and Lando just like, hey, I remember that from way back when. I'm going to use that to break into Jabba's palace. Har har har.
Convenience.
But
this movie's riddled with them, folks.
But I actually kind of wish. You know what's interesting? The way they light Kessel, it's pretty bright, and you can actually kind of see everything. The way I've always,
which is weird considering the fact that Kessel
this is
just
literally
like,
it's supposed to be designed like has always been described to me as this, gaping hellhole of a planet where it's just like
That's a good point. Yeah, Kessel's supposed to be the shit planet.
Like you know what I was expecting with Kessel would be?
They make it look brighter than anything in
the
movie,
which is so weird. But yeah, because like you know what I always imagined Kessel
it's
to
like
be
maybe
like.
They were trying to establish like, okay, here's this thing that you've heard about in Star Wars lore forever.
Yeah.
Here it is in all its glory, so let's make it bright.
I don't understand what that is, because the way I always pictured Kessel, at least from what I've read in the comics and the novels and whatnot, I always imagined it if it was a planet that looked like the mine shaft from Temple of Doom. Like, that's kind of what I had, like just a planet Star Wars version of.
I could see that.
Of Temple of Doom. Like, that's what it would have looked like, minus the weird, creepy skull hat guy.
No, the sun just happens to be shining in Kessel that day.
Yeah. So this.
Look, this is how it was when we filmed it.
This is just odd. And then, of course, Han and Chewie are going in. And they're trying to break into to get to the what was it, the hyperdrive fuel that. But yeah, this is and again, I actually still really like the sets here. And what's nice is I can see them now. So, but it's really cool seeing the outfit that Lando has in Return of the Jedi come back, which just like a nice little thing. Now we have Han and Chewie busting them out. The fucking droids are going nuts. Like, what's going on? Might as well be the the monkey toy from Toy Story 3. Well, the little monkey looking at the cameras.
Well, this is Disney.
Yeah, might as well be.
Well, Disney Pixar.
But I still really love the design of the droids. Like, it's not just
cool.
It's not just like a clone of R2D2. That's really cool. I do. God, the costume design is just so much fun. And I wish we could have seen more of Beckett doing cowboy shit like that. Because we are we are an hour and 15. Yeah, we're an hour and 15 in the movie, and we've only seen him do like something remotely cowboy like maybe 3 times. And we only seen him like spin his pistols around like a cowboy like twice in the movie. I feel like that should be more of a motif thing. So now this Han and Chewie are in disguise, like looking around for this sort of thing. And hey, you know what also just hit me? because we kind of like talked about how, you know, another Lucky Charm to make a Star Wars movie feel like Star Wars movies have R2D2 and C3PO in this movie. They also didn't have any callbacks to the plot of A New Hope, like, you know, a couple droids walking around in a desert, or you know, a dogfight where they go, "I'm going in." Or...
See, I'm surprised with all. Yeah, I'm surprised with all of the things that they throw in here and there, like the references. They don't throw in one of those.
Yeah, or there's no dogfights, no Death Star, no nothing. Like, it's all just. Yeah,
they just pinpoint
it's
out
pretty.
references in the worst way.
It's kind of crazy how, like, Han Solo, literally the rogue guy who breaks all the rules, winds up being in probably the safest movie of the entire franchise.
Right.
Like, the safest by the numbers, goes by the book sort of thing. So now here they're freeing all the slaves and whatnot. Everyone's getting out. And I believe Chewbacca stops in about a moment or two, because he finds out, like, there's apparently a bunch of Wookiees that get imprisoned and freed. But, you know, this is kind of cool. I just wish I wish if they were going this route, you know, freeing a whole bunch of people in like a mine shaft or whatnot, they should have just totally ripped off Temple of Doom, the best part of Temple of Doom, which is the Minecraft or the minecart sequence.
Yes,
like
they would have had something like that. Yeah.
This would have been really cool if they had something like that. But, you know, it's also really interesting is Han Solo continually doesn't really just like do what he wants to do and care only about himself, because he's constantly working with the team. That's kind of contradictory to your title of the movie? Solo works on a team. That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it?
You bring up a good point. Yeah.
So,
and kind of contradicting you at the beginning of the movie when.
Yeah. So.
Where you said Han. Okay,
Solo.
what's your team? By yourself. Now, yeah.
So, although I do like the
and you know, he's by himself and not with a team when we first meet him in A New Hope.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's very true.
Well,
he's very reluctant. Well, I mean, the whole time he's like, I don't want to be on this team. I want my money, bitch. Like, that should be him.
And now we're established. Now he's with a team in this.
And he's like, I don't really, and he really doesn't care too much about the money at this point. He just cares about living through the job, and occasionally he even saves a couple people around. But what was the thing that I was gonna start saying? Oh yeah, the computer monitors, actually, like the little 1970s TV screens. That's actually really cool. I love this world that George Lucas has created.
This set looks cool.
The sets, the aesthetics, I love it.
This set looks cool. This was one thing I was like, okay, this looks really sick.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I just love the fact that Disney's totally keeping in step with that. They're saying, look, we're gonna like make this whole universe look like it was built out of scrap junkyard pieces from the 1970s. Like
instead of all CG died out, like
yeah, totally.
Like episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Meaning prequels. I don't want to keep saying prequels over and over again. I try to
And once again, we get another like hammy scene with Lando, where he's just like doing like a recording of himself and just literally just like sucking his own cock. Like, he's just so into him.
Just cutting back and forth. You'll remember that I'm the most badass character in this whole movie.
And you're gonna wish we had a Lando movie instead of a Solo movie.
And then I'm gonna look in the camera and then I'm gonna then I'm gonna break the fourth wall in my Solo movie and be like, aren't you glad I got my own movie?
Yep. And L3337 is like trying to save all the droids. Like, you're free, droid rights. Which, okay, I think, you know what? It just hit me. Like, I think the reason why that doesn't work is because Star Wars is not. This is something I noticed totally when I saw The Last Jedi. Star Wars is not good at social commentary or critiquing current events or, you know, that sort of thing. Like, it's better at being a universal sort of adventure film that literally, if you
it didn't bother me in Last Jedi.
No, it totally did in Last Jedi for me. Like, when they literally stopped the plot to be like, there's only one job in this world that you can get this rich this fast, like, and it's with these guys. And it's like, oh, like anytime they try to be woke, it feels forced. And
It does feel more forced when you look at the camera and be like, look how woke.
Yeah, social commentary just.
It's important to have.
It's important. Oh yeah, no, totally, for sure.
Granted, I think social issues are important to talk about. But
absolutely.
Is Star Wars the place where it belongs?
No, Star Wars is literally the place where you come to escape that sort of thing. So that's why it never fit with me. Like, and plus, Star Wars is literally the 1970s version of what the future past looked like. I do love that moment when Lando just kind of looks at that one guy like, bitch, you just shoot at my ship? Fuck you. And it's actually cool to see Alden, like, with the blaster. Like, when he shoots the blaster like that, he fucking looks like Han Solo. Like, that's pretty cool. But the whole... but trying to be... having social commentary or have, like, a sense of wokeness in a Star Wars movie just doesn't feel out of place. Because Star Wars is about escape. Star Wars is about adventure. And, like... It's supposed to be time. It should be like the films from the 1930s and whatnot. Just like total pure
escapist filmmaking.
Yeah, man. Like, and you try to bring any of the real world stuff. Like, again,
you can try and commentate on modern issues. But
you can, but you better be super.
You can do it in a subtle way. If you're not, you can pick it up and be like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
If you go super,
I feel like in this and Last
it's
Jedi,
way too
it's
obvious.
Like,
way too obvious. Mm-hmm. And L337 is going down, and Lando has to rescue his sex bot. I'm sorry, but that's totally what it is. And it's so strange.
How does it work?
Now here,
it works. Believe me. It works.
Now this is the part where I'm like, Han Solo really should. If Han Solo was really going to be Han Solo in this moment, he wouldn't have gone back for Lando. I'm sorry, dude, but he would have been like, "Fuck Lando, let's go." It's like he cheated, and besides, he cheated like getting this ship. I'm going to take his ship. It's fair game, man. Like that's who young Han Solo would have been. Also, I'm sorry, like this early into like their relationship, Chewie would probably not have left the Wookiees. Or at least he would have tried to get the Wookiees on board, like the fellow Wookiees there, because he was already imprisoned by the Imperials and whatnot, and he's like, I'm not fucking seeing that. Like Chewie would have been like, fuck that, I'm gonna rescue my people, or at least try to get them on board and bring them along, but no. And again, like, where's the selfish Han Solo? Han Solo has, at the beginning of New Hope, is a very selfish man.
Oh yeah.
And his whole arc for the original trilogy is, him becoming a selfless person. So, like, it's just so out of character to see him do selfless acts like this, because that's just not in his character yet. He's not there yet.
He's supposed to grow.
Yeah. So, and that's something.
It's not supposed to be back and forth. It's not supposed to be back and forth. He's selfless and then he's selfish.
Yeah, I get it. One more reason why this movie was kind of a mistake.
Yeah.
And now this part when they get out. Now, of course, like I don't know if you guys were paying attention or not, but the merchandise that they stole.
My sex robot.
Oh yeah, my sex robot. Sex robot. No, don't die. Don't die. Don't. And you know what's actually interesting?
What was the robot say? It's always gonna work.
But I do like the fact that that. It is interesting that they have like a sentient being inside the Millennium Falcon. Like he takes her memory chip and puts it in the Falcon navigational systems, and so when you hear 3PO like, "Oh, sir, I don't know where your computer learned its form of dialect. I don't know where your computer learned its dialect, but it has the most peculiar language. It's very mean. I don't like it." So I mean, I guess that's an interesting thing to give an origin story to, but whatever. So apparently these things like deteriorate after a while. They're like like taking the core out of a nuclear reactor. You leave it out too long, it's gonna fucking explode and deteriorate. So they got to do the Kessel Run, which, like we said, is kind of impossible. Like, according to this, I believe it's like 20 parsecs, and he's about to do it in like 12 because he takes like a really. It's really about, instead of going like super fast, he takes like he maneuvers through a risky, like a really risky, what do you call it? Fuck. I'm missing the word here. Alternate route.
Yeah.
Shortcut. Wow.
There we go.
Wow. I feel fucking stupid. Words. I cannot words. So yeah, okay, now this is really cool. The TIE fighters coming out after him.
This was probably the one scene in the movie where I was like the most excited watching it.
Yeah,
because this is a pretty exciting scene.
It is, when you can see what's going on.
You can see what's going on,
because it's in the middle of like this this cloud-like vortex in the middle of space, and again, like things aren't, because
this was where I perked up, because through a lot of the movie I was sitting and going, I was pretty bored through a lot of it. Like, I'm kind of getting bored watching this again.
Mm-hmm.
But then when this scene picks up, I'm like, okay, all right.
Sir, the possibility of going through the maelstrom is approximately 3,720 to 1. Never tell me the odds. That's another thing this movie really got wrong. They're like, you're about to do the Kessel Run in 20... Kessel Run's 20 parsecs. You're about to do it in what now? And he should have just, like, before he punched it, he should have just said, never tell me the odds. He never said, tell me the odds. He never said it. Like, dude, you literally had the most perfect moment to just, like, do, like, a total, like, shameless callback to the old movies, and you missed it.
They have so many other shameless callbacks, but
yeah,
that was the one they've totally missed on the most.
Although, this is interesting, though. Like, when he gets on the gunner turret, it's the single one. It's not the four-beamed one that we see in the later movies and whatnot, which kind of just, like, automatically tells you right there and then that Han Solo definitely did some modifications to himself. I mean, obviously he's going to, because the Falcon looks nothing like this in the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is them, doing their version of the TIE fighters fighting the Falcon. And apparently it gets so fucking beat up in this, like it turns into the beat up version of the Falcon, which
it feels so quick.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, because like when you look at the original set of the Millennium,
it felt like it felt like there have been so many years of like the Millennium Falcon going through shit.
Yeah,
like it's been through. Yeah, but it feels like it's just one
giant thing, and then
collide with TIE fighters, and it just it's just like one giant sort of
sequence
through going through TIE fighters trying to
one whole sequence kind of put like 55 years or like 50 years onto the ship's history, and I'm like, no, come on, dude. Like,
it almost feels like they show them the ship for the first time. It's like it's been places. Apparently, it was just one place in this.
Yeah, and then although I did like that one moment where Chewie says, "How old are you?" And Chewie's like 109. Roars, and he's like 190. Wow, you look great for your age. Which, I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm glad they kind of clarified that, because outside the books and whatnot, they never mentioned how old Chewie was. I mean, he was always supposed, in like the novels and in like encyclopedias and whatnot, he was always listed as like 200 years old, which is why
dog years, really.
Yeah, which is why I really give like a lot of people, like, fans shit in Force Awakens, like, hey, how come Chewie didn't get like any gray hairs? Like, because he doesn't age like you and me. So leave him alone.
That's one thing where people were nitpicky about.
No
Force
kidding.
Awakens.
Like, no,
I personally loved Force Awakens.
I loved it for what it was.
I loved Force. Yeah, I loved it too. But like, I just was like so tired of people just like nitpicking the shit out of it.
Yeah,
looking at
it's episode 7. It's episode 7, dude.
The smallest, minute things,
dude.
People would complain about, saying it was a shit movie.
It's literally 30 years of pent up nerd rage.
Yes.
So I will allow that, but I'm not going to agree with all of it. Although this thing right here is kind of cool, what he does, like when he kind of that callback to the boosting the carjacking back in the day. Although I kind of do wish that, because the carjacking sequence when he goes through the really narrow alley, kind of a callback to what he does with the Falcon, like, puts it on its side and goes in between really narrow spaces, and then TIE fighters following them just kind of run into it and explode and whatnot. I kind of wish that they followed through with that, and they had like a narrow, like, little canyon that he could, like, go really low into, do a quick turn in through, and then pull up, and then turn to the side and go through the canyon and getting rid of the last of the TIE fighters and whatnot. But whatever, like, yeah, that's a small little thing. So now they got L3 on board the Millennium Falcon, and she's part of the ship now, navigating through, and she's gonna find them a shortcut through the Kessel Run, so that they can.
Quickly for my taste.
Yeah, no kidding. Also, how's there rain in space? Because you can see like the little sort of see the little droplets. I don't know how. I mean, I know there are.
They gotta make this movie happen.
No, I mean, I know that there are like cloud dusts in the middle of space, but how's there a
doesn't really make
how
sense.
is there a storm in space? Like, look, I know that in Star Wars, in the universe of Star Wars, space really doesn't have any rules. Like,
no.
In space, it has.
Still, like, even for that standard, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Just seeing like a rain.
And now here we got this wonderful.
That's right.
Always a bigger fish. Always a bigger fish, and that's okay. That's another thing Star Wars needs to figure out, because sadly it hasn't figured it out quite yet. Stop doing tentacle monsters. I know you're trying. I know you're trying to appeal to your Japanese audience, but stop doing tentacle monsters. Just stop it. It didn't work in Rogue One. It didn't work in Force Awakens. Thankfully, they had the sense to leave that out in Last Jedi. Please stop doing tentacle monsters. They look awful.
Yeah.
Like do you remember the Rathtars in Force Awakens? Like how stupid that looked.
Yeah, but I was able. Yeah. But for a while, I was just like, oh, big tentacle monsters. That's just part of.
That's just dude. That's no. That's just straight up them trying to appeal to the Japanese audience, like straight up. Like that's at least under my sort of
international markets.
Oh yeah, and Star Wars is big on the international, man.
Yes.
Although do we really need like a monster on the Kessel Run or whatnot? Because. So, I mean,
for this movie, because it just happens pretty much like it's just a quick little obstacle that they have to deal with. And it's like, oh, it's done.
It's weird how this whole sequence doesn't feel like the sequence
that looks like shit.
Well, no, it's just like this whole sequence doesn't feel like the sequence that I've been hearing about for ages and ages and ages. Because when Han Solo first describes, like, this ship made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, it sounds like a race. It honestly sounded like a race or something like that. And like I know they have like making this a race against time with like their cargo on board and whatnot, but I don't know. Like for some reason this just doesn't feel like it has stakes. Especially the fact that these cats are going to make it out all right, because it's the fucking Falcon, it's fucking Han Solo and Chewbacca and Lando. Like these guys are going to make it. Like so it's. Like, the actual thing in suspense is kind of removed here, isn't it?
It is.
It's just, I don't know. The Kessel Run, the way he always described it, always sounded like this. It kind of sounded like Boonta Eve pod race.
It sounded, yeah.
Like the Boon. Can you believe this? This movie is giving more credibility to the pod race than to the Kessel Run. The whole thing.
Never before in my life would I have heard that.
Wow.
Even like what I was saying, comparing this movie to the prequels before, saying how you can name everybody by name in the prequels, but you can't name everybody by name in this.
Yeah, I'll give you that. The prequels might have been bad, but at least they were memorable. In here, oh my God, nothing.
Look at where we are. Look at how far it's come.
Yeah.
We are now at a point where there is a movie in the Star Wars universe that is,
I guess that's
the most bland thing, and you look at the prequels and you go, well, actually, they did it better in this. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. Tom.
Honestly,
that's where we are.
That's I can only say that's just a byproduct of Star Wars being bought by one of the biggest entertainment conglomerates on the planet. That's just, I mean, it's bound to happen. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Like, let's face it. Like, when Disney got that thing, it's bound to happen. So now here we go. Like, we got one big final thrust that's going through.
Well,
like
Disney owns 20th Century Fox. Too.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Right. Now they truly have everything. They didn't even need to buy out Star Wars for like $1 billion. I could have just bought 20th Century Fox and had it. But yeah, now here it is. Like, this is where we got like the whole like goes to the side and skates at the last minute. That's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. And then finally, I love this little outpost, and I love the junk aesthetic to it.
If only you can see it.
No, here we can.
Yeah, here you can, but
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like right here, like I love the fact that all this shit is just a bunch of shit cobbled together from junkyards from the 1970s. I love it. Now we have the Falcon pulling in, got the cargo on time, made the Kessel Run in 13 parsecs. Though Han will always say it's 12.
Less than 12.
I love how fucking beat up it looks now. Like
After
it's just
just right after one.
It's just like that feels better.
That's the Millennium Falcon I know.
Now getting the things attached and they don't have to fucking blow up. And yep, there he is. He's just bragging. You know, that's another thing. After he makes the run, he should have a crowd. Han Solo deserves to have a crowd for making
Damn right he does.
like that sort of thing. Because then, you know, that kind of word of mouth would pick up around the galaxy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There it is. The ship's beat to fuck and Lando's pissed. I love this. Actually, this is funny. I know. Yeah, yay. Slapping the knee. But I'll take it. Sure. Like, it's not... this movie is just so lackluster in its Han Solo content that I'll give that a pass, I guess. But I do love how pissed off Lando is.
I do remember being in the theater when that moment came where Lando's like, "I hate you," and Han Solo goes, "I know." I literally heard somebody in theater, "Ha!" Just one, "Ha!"
Was it sarcastic?
It felt sarcastic. It felt sarcastic.
It might as well have been, because shit.
You can tell sarcastic, yeah.
So, yeah, now these cats... Seriously, what is with these two in their relationship?
I don't buy this relationship
I
at
don't
all.
either, because, like, dude, you know... That's part of the weird thing about it. Like,
Here, I have a phrase for this. Whenever I see a forced romance, not in just a Star Wars movie, just in any movie in general. Whenever I see a forced romance, Anakin meet Padme.
Yeah. See, Anakin and Padme's relationship, when you watch it, it is fucking creepy. Especially in episode 2.
Hayden Christensen's always looking.
Sorry, my lady. Like,
sorry, my lady.
Look, Hayden Christensen, great as Anakin Skywalker, but dude, what the fuck, George Lucas?
I will never say anything bad about Hayden Christensen.
I
won't say anything bad about him.
I poke fun at him, but that's totally not his fault.
It's not his fault
at all.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason I don't blame Jake Lloyd.
Yeah,
it's the same reason I don't blame him. Like, because
he got a thankless job, dude.
Yes, he did. I mean, you can only do so much with a script that you're given.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And not to mention the director.
And it's just the two actors were just settled with this script, and I just don't buy this romance at all.
Well, I mean, when you know he's gonna hook up with Princess Leia,
no.
You're like, who the fuck is this? Where does she go? You have so many questions.
And it's not like Han Solo at one point was ever like, yeah, I did have someone back in the day, and
never said anything.
She
like
she turned her back on me.
Like, it's just this movie never gives you any answers to this stuff. Like, none, and it's so frustrating. And just when you finally feel like you're about to get a hint of what she is and where she goes and how she fits into Han Solo's life, the movie fucking ends.
Yes,
it's so frustrating. Really frustrating.
Because you could tell they were wanting to make more of these.
Oh yeah, and I really.
There's nothing more embarrassing than when you have something that you're setting up for a sequel and it doesn't happen.
Oh,
there's nothing more embarrassing.
Like what was it? Fucking Masters of the Universe back in the day when Skeletor came back out and like Or no, Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they had that post-credit scene where Sinestro gets
or
the
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah, when they get the yellow lantern, and you're like, they think they're gonna get a sequel.
That's so cute.
That's adorable. And
totally gonna happen because I don't see anybody in this theater.
Yeah. Also this part right here where Han like bluffs about like having a whole bunch of people like taking him off, and then this shit happens and the Falcon just right on cue just runs away, and he's like, oh shit. I really am uncomfortable in seeing like I'll see.
I feel like this would have been played off more in whatever Lord and Miller were trying to do.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been. I feel like whatever version Lord and Miller were trying to do, that scene that just happened could have been pulled off a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's because
I feel like they were trying to go for a humorous moment, and it just the way
the humor is really out of place in this movie.
Yeah, whereas with Lord and Miller, like every bit of humor in their films just feels
stick
right
the
in
landing.
Its place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, stick the landing, and it just feels.
Boom, boom, boom! She's a woman. What? That's the twist.
What
yeah,
a
no,
twist.
no, that's really the twist. That's it. She's a woman. Ooh, that was literally my reaction. I'm like, oh, she's a woman. Okay, cool. What's her story again? Of course, she does start going into it over a nice drink. Apparently, like. She's literally with the rebellion. So she's she and her like little clan is works closely with the Rebel Alliance and whatnot. And she wants to restore order and fight against the Empire. I'm like, oh, right on. Can we see a Star Wars spin-off movie about her? Like everyone in this movie.
Be a cool spin-off.
Everyone in this
spin-off
movie.
of her character would actually be pretty
totally, cool. Dude. Like all these characters
in
in these movies, like. I want to see side stories. I want to see anthology movies about this.
That's one thing when I first saw her, I was like, wait, okay, there's something there with her. Why don't we follow her for the rest of the movie?
Yeah,
but
dude.
We can't because it's called Solo.
Yeah. I want to see like an anthology movie about her.
Hell yeah.
So or again, even like Lando, and oh shit, it's the Death Star. It's the
red knee slap.
Not knee slap, like. You know what? Just insert just insert like
it's supposed to be
Captain
a shit moment.
Just insert like Captain America. I understood that reference.
Exactly.
Warwick Davis.
There he is.
Yay! Can't have a fucking Star Wars movie without Warwick Davis
until
he dies, man. Because as of now, Peter Dinklage has all the good dwarf roles. Actually, wouldn't that be amazing to watch Warwick Davis and Peter Dinklage fight for a role? Just like, just go
I think Peter Dinklage in a Star Wars role would be really good.
Yeah, I mean, well, they fit him into the Marvel universe.
Yes,
I remember seeing Infinity War like, oh shit,
yeah.
Tyrion Lannister, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's, fucking put Peter Dinklage in one of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have him save one of these movies. That'd be cool.
Because how old is Warwick Davis now?
I believe he is in his.
Is he in his 50s?
I'm pretty sure he is in his late 40s or his early 50s.
Early 50s. You only see Warwick Davis for like half a second in this movie.
No, he's got like a little bit of a role in there. Like he's got.
He does. I don't remember.
Yeah, he's in it for a few shots.
Okay.
Well, the dude's 49.
49.
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's about right. But yeah, it's interesting like how there's a couple moral dilemmas here with like who they're working for and whatnot, and how it relates to the good of the galaxy and whatnot. Han Solo should be like, fuck the galaxy, I'm working for myself. Instead, he's actually arguing in favor of the galaxy. It's so strange,
Which is almost the equivalent of like a punk rock band.
Yeah, it's literally
singing positively about the government.
Wow. Ooh, that hurts. That hurt. Ooh, when I see how closely resembling that analogy is, this hurts. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. I fuck this movie now. Although I will say this though, you know how when we saw Force Awakens for the first time and we saw how cool Finn's jacket / Poe Dameron's jacket was, and we're like, I want that jacket.
Oh yeah.
fuck, I want young Han Solo's jacket too.
That jacket does look pretty sick. It's a nice, yeah.
This whole movie, once
I
again,
thought you were about to say you wanted Woody Harrelson's jacket. And
I wouldn't mind that too.
I don't want Woody Harrelson's jacket. I want Han's.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would want Han's more, but I do like me some cowboy dusters. But yeah, fucking this whole movie is like one giant commercial for their accessories and whatnot. Like that's the only really cool thing about these is just how cool it looks. So. But I believe they're Han Solo's thinking about doing a double cross, and again, it's not really for him. It's like doing it for these rebels, you know. He literally. I remember in. Do you remember in A New Hope? He literally looks straight up at Princess Leia. He's like, "Fuck the rebellion. I want to get paid."
Yes. Yeah.
This is
he
really
was all about himself.
This is really out of character. I'm sorry. I know I'm talking like a broken record here, but.
No, believe me, it's the thought. It's the same thoughts I have going in watching this over again.
Mm-hmm.
It just, yeah.
Yep. So now they're gonna do like the whole double cross thing, and God, this movie is so fucking boring. It's by the numbers. Like, yeah, we know you're gonna win. We totally know you're gonna win. Like, yeah, yeah. We know you're gonna all live. Like. Come on, guys! Like this is a prequel with Han Solo. It's kind of the equivalent of Anakin Skywalker being Darth Vader. Like we kind of know going in. So, what I would give for another different kind of Star Wars spinoff. This is why I'm excited, way more excited for The Mandalorian.
Me too.
Seriously, it's just nothing but
too.
original characters.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention they got Favreau on board.
John Favreau.
Yeah, he's the showrunner, man. Like. Anything he touches seems just to turn to gold.
Turn to gold, yeah.
I'm
a huge John Favreau fan.
Same.
I'm looking for. I'm actually a bit off topic, but I'm looking forward to his Lion King remake.
I'm not.
To be honest,
He got really lucky with Jungle Book because Jungle Book was kind of Disney's less. Not. It wasn't one of Disney's.
Spend too much time on it, but
well, it wasn't one of Disney's best movies.
Yeah, I remember them.
So he did, but he just took that movie and like, I'm gonna make this way better. But Lion King, if you're gonna do like a shot-for-shot live-action remake, you can't make it better. Like Beauty and the case in point, I went to go see Beauty and the Beast, piece of shit.
I just have the morbid curiosity, just because the way everything looks in the Lion King. I'm going into it, I'm like, okay, this may be a shot-for-shot remake, but I know we're going way off topic here, but.
Who cares? Yeah. This what these people say. Anytime these cats sit down and talk, like you can fucking jerk off in the time it takes, like this sort of thing. Like it's so fucking boring.
Speaking of that, where are we?
We are. Let's see. We are 1 hour and 47. 1 hour and 47. Now 1 hour and 48 minutes in.
Okay.
So we got about like 20 more minutes.
20 more minutes?
Wait, how much more time do we have?
20 or it looks like 30.
No, it's definitely like 15, but.
Okay.
So we're getting there. Bear with us, folks. So now he's pulling out. Actually, do you know how fucking cool it would be? Actually, that was really cool having the blaster underneath. Like that was actually pretty cool. But can you imagine how cool this would have been if he just pulled out the Tesseract?
Yes.
Like Disney crossover confirmed. Yeah.
This is when Loki shows up.
and then at the end
ties into Endgame.
Yeah, and then at the end of Endgame, when like when all the heroes assemble, the fucking Falcon just shows up and starts all the characters from Star Wars. Yes. Yes. So much better. So now he's gonna be getting like.
I mean, it's all owned by Disney at this point.
Exactly,
so.
like that's just make up the giant mashup movies. Like that's the one real positive byproduct of these conglomerates having all of these properties under their one belt, because then you can have all those mashups without having issues with licensing and whatnot. It's. Although, can you imagine if Disney did Ready Player One instead? That would have been interesting.
So much to pull from.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like Warner Brothers has most of the stuff that's referenced in the book. But either way, we're getting off topic. We got to Got to stay solo on Solo, I guess. Even though
Solely on Solo.
solely on Solo, to be sure.
Solely.
And guess who the big guy to traitor is? Dun dun dun! It's Beckett.
Woody Harrelson.
Like dude, come on! I saw this coming. Like this movie has absolutely no surprises. There's no chances being to be made.
If you didn't see this coming, you literally might have fell asleep during the middle of this.
Probably. Although to be fair, even if you were paying scrutinous attention, I can see why you would get totally lost. And of course, he knows about the blaster hidden away and fucking thing.
Put your paws where I can see them.
Yep.
It's a bad Woody Harrelson. I can try to. Every time you try to do Woody Harrelson, it's just like
you got to talk like you're chewing some tobacco there.
I'm just chewing some tobacco and
always.
Just put the paws where I can see them. And just give me a goddamn Twinkie.
And of course, they've been these Mad Max Rebellion guys have been double crossed naturally, because it's got to. That's another thing. This movie should have totally been like a far more gray, because exploration of the Star Wars universe. Because as you know, Star Wars has been always famously very black and white, good and evil good versus evil sort of thing. Although what's interesting is, like, for Last Jedi in particular, they've really been trying to gray things up a bit. This could have been their chance to actually go full on gray, in terms of their morality and whatnot. But sadly, because as you know, like, Han Solo would have been a perfect character to establish a more gray morality look at the Star Wars universe. Because pre A New Hope, Solo would have been doing some really shady shit.
His face starts. Paul Bettany's face. I don't know why this just came to me. He's starting to look like. His face is starting to look like the creature from The Shape of Water.
It's the scars.
It's so bizarre.
It's the scars for sure.
I must be the only one that is ever going to connect this movie and The Shape of Water.
Nah. Shape of Water is weird enough that I could totally see someone putting some Star Wars elements into it.
I don't know.
And vice versa.
I'm weird.
It's cool. But this movie would have been perfect to really go full on gray morality with the Star Wars universe, because pre A New Hope Solo totally would have been a perfect character for that sort of thing, because again, he would have been doing some really shady shit, and he would have been only caring about himself, and you'd be like, right on, this is pretty cool. But instead, they have to, revert it back to good versus evil and sort of thing. And it's just, when you have that with Solo, it's just so boring. It's tiring, actually. Like, this is actually a movie made me, like, tired of Star Wars movies. Because Rogue One didn't do that. Rogue One was essentially Star Wars Battlefront the movie.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you know what? I'll take that. That's cool. It's good enough to make me not.
Also, with the fact that we don't need a spin-off movie for every single thing.
Yeah, and so, but this movie just
the fact that when I first heard they were making a Han Solo movie, I was like, I don't think it needs to happen.
No, it doesn't. That's what literally just everyone was like. No one asked for this. No one, and. Everyone was asking for the Boba.
On whether or not you made a Han Solo movie or a Boba Fett movie, and the coin flipped to Han Solo,
I guess.
Yeah.
And boy, did everyone lose out on that. So now that Beckett's taken the shit for himself.
See, now after Episode 9, I feel like they're gonna give somewhat of a break on Star Wars,
which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I'm just like, because like for me,
besides Mandalorian, but I feel like that's its own.
Well, that's
thing.
a television series, so it's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I feel like that's its own thing, though.
Television's free game. You got, but the cinema is a little bit more precious. But I do like those designs, like
that looks cool.
the knuckles with the double-edged blades, which again, nice little foreshadowing for Darth Maul. Kind of cool, not gonna lie. But this is like the first time a Star Wars movie actually made me tired of Star Wars. I'm like, it just felt like when this movie was made, I'm like, well, shit, they're just gonna jerk this.
Never got so bored until I saw the Trade Federation talking
about or even worse, fucking sand. But this movie's like, dude, because this gave me a sense like because they can go anywhere, like, God, then that just means because the possibilities are limitless. Like, that just means there's no fun in the limitations of what you can do. Because I've always pictured Star Wars as this 9-part epic saga, and that's it. Like, I don't need spin-offs. I don't need anything.
No.
I'm good, man. Like, really. Because especially in terms of the music, like the main reason why I want to see the sequel trilogy be completed is so I can listen to John Williams' 9-piece epic symphony in the way that you listen to Beethoven's 9 symphonies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Because that's just as good as any music by Beethoven.
So now we have Kira turning on Paul Bettany.
Creature from the Shape of Water. I am the only person that's probably ever going to say that.
I haven't seen Shape of Water all the way through, so
I only watched it once.
So I can't really say, but that's all right.
That
you do you, man.
Creature from the shape.
But I still want to know.
Guillermo del Toro would have directed this movie.
Guillermo del Toro directing a Star Wars movie, bitch, you got my money.
Yeah,
you got my money, like right there and then. Like
he's a big
take
fan,
it
right?
all. Oh, he is an uber nerd,
fan,
sir.
Yeah.
So I'm totally in for a Del Toro Star Wars flick. Mm-hmm. Like, have him direct the Boba Fett movie we never get. Like, fuck, that'd be amazing.
Hell yeah, it would be.
I'm really confused. Who the hell is Kira really loyal to? Because she seems like the most morally questionable person in the whole movie, which I feel like that title should belong to Solo himself, where you're not quite sure who he's loyal to and whatnot. At this point of his life, Solo would be like tossing, loyalties left and right like it's, fucking currency. And
then we get the last look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kira, I just don't know who she's loyal to. Is she loyal to Bettany? Is she loyal to Darth Maul? Is she loyal to Beckett? Who the fuck is she working for? Is she working for herself? I don't know, but it's there's so many things about her character that I want explained. Like, it's not even funny. It's really, really frustrating. But at least because right here and right then, like where we feel like her loyalty has always been to Han Solo, this shit happens, and you're like, now it's getting interesting.
In the last 10 minutes of the movie?
Yeah, I guess like I forgot we gotta Han's gotta save Chewie and get the merch back.
We have, yeah.
No,
and then this.
Oh wait, no, yeah, that's right. This part happens and then Han saves Chewie and fucking Beckett. But yeah, this.
Here we go. And then when I first saw this, I was like,
this was cool. Like, I'm like, who we got? Like,
who is this?
Yeah, I'm like, like. You're okay. She's already, because first off, she's already like triple crossed like everyone. Like, she's right here. She's betraying Han Solo. She already betrayed Beckett. She already betrayed Bettany, and she betrayed Bettany for Beckett, and vice versa. She's going. She's going all over the place. And then she's like, this guy happens, and then you're like, oh shit, this is right here. This is. I was so not invested in this movie, but as soon as the hood comes up, I'm like, oh. This is interesting.
I wasn't even like that. I was just like, oh, what?
Who is that? This is so much. This movie just got really interesting.
But why though? I just want to know why.
I don't know. I don't really care. I kind of want to know why.
Can you imagine someone just being them right?
And there's our one lightsaber. And if you listen really closely to the music cue, it's actually Darth Maul's like Duel of the Fates theme. And that's actually Ray Park. Ray Park was literally brought in to do this, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
But although now that Darth Maul's alive, there's
I just can't. It's never really explained. I just while they were writing this movie, like they were just like, hey, let's fuck this audience.
Yeah, let's really give these guys a boner, like, and they did. But I just wish it was earned.
It's not earned, though.
No, but I will give this though. I mean, I know Darth Maul has been like one of the. He's the Boba Fett of the prequels. Like, he's the badass character who's built up and goes out like a total punk and comes back and like and
he hardly says a word.
Well, yeah, and hardly says a word and comes back into the novelizations, whatnot, because the fans love him so fucking much.
Mm-hmm.
But so I know it's been canon for him to survive in Phantom Menace. But since it's really confirmed here by Disney itself, here's what I want to see now. I want to see a Darth Maul movie. Actually, this would work way better as a Robot Chicken sketch, but I'm just going to pitch this right here because, again, this whole... You know what's going to happen in this exchange. Han shoots first. Because, Han shoots first. We need to have that moment. Yeah, because, this whole time, I know he's going to shoot first. That's the only way to do it. And, of course, father figure dies and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. By the numbers, mentor passing the torch, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, getting back to Darth Maul, here's where the things get interesting for you guys listeners, because I'm here to entertain you. This movie is not really, doesn't really qualify as entertainment in my opinion. But here's what I got. A little proposal for Darth Maul, sort of like a Robot Chicken sketch, or even like a Saturday Night Live sketch. So you got Darth Maul, little kid, gets snatched out of a village from droid attack, gets presented to Darth Sidious, and is like, "I'm gonna train you, but you're gonna hate me, and I'm gonna feed that hate, and you're gonna become like my ultimate warrior." Beats the shit out of him in training, constantly just going at it and egging him on. He's like, you're not quite there yet. And he gets better and better and better. And when he finally gets to unleash on himself in episode 1 Phantom Menace, gets his ass beat by a Padawan. And then he goes down and he's just crying and screaming at the bottom of the well. Cauterizes the wound with his lightsaber. And then literally as his half self beats the shit out of a droid and attaches it to himself, and he gets on a ship, gets him and then refines his robot legs and whatnot. And then he tries training again, and he realizes, shit, my training's all thrown off. I got to train with my robot legs. So he beats the shit out of himself and starts training, building himself back up. And he feels like after years and years and years of rehab and rebuilding himself and whatnot, he feels like he's finally ready to go back to his master, and finally at last we will have revenge. At last we will destroy the Jedi. And the second he walks out and ready to do so, Palpatine comes up. He's like, "I'm the new emperor, and all the Jedi are dead." And Maul just sits down like, fuck, my entire existence is meaningless. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna be a warlord. That would be an amazing moment. Just Darth Maul having an existential crisis. So there's Warwick Davis loading up the goods for the rebellion and whatnot, because apparently Han Solo totally endorses the rebellion, even though he mostly should care about money. I mean, granted, he's getting paid and whatnot, but you can still tell the guy has an interest in the rebellion's cause and whatnot. And right here, we're having the Luke Skywalker moment where it's like, come on, we could use a good pilot like you. And he just says, nah. But, this scene is so on the nose. It kind of hurts. Deep down, he's, secretly, I'm totally for this rebellion shit. But he's like, nah, the script says otherwise. I'm going to do my own thing.
The future movies say otherwise.
Mm-hmm. The future movies say otherwise. Because if
they give up on it, once they know they're filming it, it's like, well, do we have to change this?
If this wasn't Han Solo, if this was just a random character, played the exact same way, literally the exact same way, that character would have totally joined their cause. Straight up. Mm-hmm. The way that character of Han Solo would have gone with them. But we get this... Now we have this, and apparently this is on Felucia, which is the planet where Aayla Secura got iced off in Order 66. So another cool planet to revisit and whatnot. But what I love about this sequence is Lando's Hawaiian shirt. It's so weird because you feel like you can never take anyone really.
That felt like an Empire Strikes Back moment.
Yeah, right there where they hug and he's like.
No, but because at first, when they see each other, it's very they look like they're
pissed off
They look pissed off at each other,
and they just hug,
and then they're like, huh, and then they start going into the hug. Yeah.
Although I do like the little switch here, because he wasn't hugging because he genuinely missed him. He wanted to get that. He wanted to take that card out because he knows how he's cheating. Mm-hmm. So that's a nice little That's actually one of the few little character moments that I actually really liked from this. So now we're back at a rematch, and of course we know that Han's totally gonna win because took his card out. Han Solo's already proven himself to be an excellent card dealer and whatnot. And plus, we know that the Falcon winds up in his hands. And it kind of goes with the whole thing. When he says an Empire, I beat you fair and square for that ship. So they have to wink to the camera once again when he says fair and square. I won her. It's like, yeah, that's where right here where Lando's like, oh shit. I don't have all my cards. This sucks. And he loses. But it's so strange to see Lando in a Hawaiian shirt. Because people in Hawaiian shirts you generally can't take seriously. You really can't. But you know what? Damn it.
I take Lando seriously.
But yeah, no. Childish Gambino here. Like, I'll buy that.
He can rock it. He can rock anything.
Yeah, Lando can rock that. I'll take that. So here we have in the last minute, like Han and Chewie
Donald
won
Glover
the
could come out and literally perform as Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
Shirt,
Totally.
And I would be like,
totally. I'm in.
on board with this.
And apparently the big gangster getting ready for a job. Like, that's obviously not a Job of the Hutt, and it's just so weird because you're like, there's clearly a lot of missing stuff here where he becomes the rogue that we know in A New Hope. And this right here, this shot. Not the dice. That last shot should have been like the iris in.
Credits.
That should have been the iris in. But no, we had to have one last jerk off, one last send off to the fucking dice. God Almighty! What? And that was wow.
And he still did executive producer.
Well, yeah, that was their compromise for the whole thing. Yeah, this movie is just.
It's just overall just a disappointment.
Real
but
disappointment.
I really wasn't expecting much going into it anyway.
Mm-hmm. At least you can say that, because when you go into, like, when you're a Star Wars fan and you see Solo and you've seen the trailers and whatnot, you're like, okay, this one's got really low expectations for me.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna be like Episode 7 at all. Like, you're not gonna be like cool hyped and whatnot, and it's not even gonna be Last Jedi where you're like cool. Or even Rogue One. Rogue One, I had a lot of. I was already hyped for.
Mm-hmm.
This one,
I wasn't
no
overly
hype.
hyped for this.
No. And that was probably should have been Disney's first sign to pull the plug before even a frame of this was made. Like, they should have been looking on the internet and listening to all the reviews and whatnot and hear all the because as you know, like, even before this, like. Everyone's like, yeah, we're not really this hyped for it, but we're going to go see it because they slapped the Star Wars on it.
And it didn't do well.
No, it didn't. It was a big box office disappointment, and it's literally the reason why all the other anthology movies are literally on hold for now. That, and plus, I'm pretty sure, like, after Rise of Skywalker, they're going to be like, we need a break.
Take a break for a while, yeah.
Yeah, this is... I mean, I can't say that I don't want more anthology movies, because I totally do.
Mm-hmm.
I totally do. I just give me something that would pique my interest.
You do it right.
Can you imagine?
Do it right.
Like, I'll take like a maybe like a Darth Bane kind of thing.
Okay.
It takes place in the old. Show some old Republic stuff. Like, do some fun aesthetic stuff with that. Like, take some of the concept art from the video games or whatnot. Or just go straight up into the future. Like, Star Wars is a massive sandbox, and you honestly don't need to take like any of the characters from the saga that we know. You can take some of the stuff from the other canons and make some stuff out of that. We'll go and see it. It's Star Wars. We're gonna wind up seeing it in the theater no matter what.
That's partly the reason why I went in. I was like, it's Star Wars, though.
Yeah. I felt obligated to see it in the theater, just not opening night or opening weekend.
No, like I said, I was like the weekend after for me.
Mm-hmm. So, I really wish we could say final thoughts on this, but...
I think you all know pretty much.
At this point, you guys should know what...
I don't think we need to say any final thoughts.
No.
To be honest.
The only thing I'll say is, give me a Lando movie now. Like,
Lando movie with Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. That crosses over into what I can only inevitably think that would be a Miles Morales live-action Spider-Man movie. Because, dude, you know that we're setting that up so hard in Homecoming. Like when they said Donald Glover is going to be in it, and he's in it for like all of 5 minutes tops. You know they're.
And then it became Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, well, I mean you know that for a fact that Miles Morales, Spider-Man, live action Miles Morales, not animated, is being set up right there and then, because they're like a big star black guy, you know, being billed very heavily despite low screen time for a Spider-Man movie. Oh, they're doing Miles Morales, and looking at it like. Yeah, totally. I can see Donald Glover being Miles.
I could too.
I think he'd be a great Miles Morales.
I'd be into that.
But Alden Ehrenreich, he just.
I don't blame him.
I'm not gonna give him any
I won't
shit.
give Alden Ehrenreich any shit because he was saddled with one of the really poor interpretation of one of the greatest.
And it's not his fault. It's not his interpretation. As a matter of fact. He does just well enough to move the story along. As a matter of fact, Harrison Ford actually saw this movie twice and said,
he was all
dude.
for him, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, dude, totally. He totally praised Alden Ehrenreich. I swear to God. It's between him and the Ready Player One kid and the kid who played Baby in Baby Driver. They have such similar names.
Elgort?
Yeah, dude.
Who was the kid in Ready Player One? What was the actor's name?
I forget. Like that's why it's eating me up because like I constantly get those three guys mixed up and the language gets butchered halfway in between and yeah. So but Ehrenreich as Solo, like he does just a good enough job for me, but. It's not on him. Like he's playing a young Harrison Ford. That's like playing a young Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like you just can't really do it. Like so like I don't give him any crap whatsoever. Like I can jokingly give Hayden Christensen crap, even though I know it wasn't his fault either. But that's because Hayden Christensen's performance was hilariously bad. You know?
But again, I don't blame him.
No, absolutely not.
No.
But sadly Ehrenreich's performance is just forgettable. That sucks, dude.
Sad, yeah.
It sucks. Actually, there's one more complaint that I'm realizing because as we're going through the credits and I'm seeing all this stuff, I'm thinking about like the people who worked on the music and whatnot. It's funny because we had for the scores for Force Awakens and for Last Jedi. We got like new cantina scenes, right? Like we had a casino scene that had its own music playing.
Yeah.
We had Force Awakens on the soundtrack. There's like 2 whole cantina tracks. So now we don't have to hear that like a million. We don't have to hear that a million times over. We can just use the music from Force Awakens, right? This music had a casino, like a little bar, but there's no soundtrack to that track that they use.
That's right. There isn't.
There's no. It's not used. That sucks. Like the one time.
Just ever done it briefly, like.
No.
Or
they would have
thrown in special edition Max Rebo band from Return of the Jedi.
I'll take that. Because, like I said,
they're singing the happy time that I have.
we were talking about that, dude. Like when you look at those set designs for the casino and the bar there, super unimaginative. You look at the original trilogy, that's really imaginative. Like might be just like some seedy, desert bar with like a bunch of masks, but we'd never seen that before. And in Jedi, it was literally just a bunch of Muppets. As a matter of fact, in Jedi, the whole Jabba's palace thing. When the whole reason why George was so adamant about that scene, that whole sequence, and why it's so long, is because George was initially so unhappy with the cantina sequence. They went back to reshoot some inserts to make it seem more diverse in terms of aliens. Because when you look at the behind the scenes set footage of the cantina of the original set, there's not a whole lot of imagination going on. It wasn't until they shot those inserts that made it cooler. So he was like, I'm going to do the cantina sequence, but only better. So he made like 50 to 100 different puppets, with Jabba being like the centerpiece of that.
Right.
So he wanted to do like go all out with it. And that's the reason why that shit works. Here, they just kind of said it's an intergalactic bar. It's a regular bar, but it's slightly space. And that's why it just doesn't work.
And now we end with the Lucasfilm logo again.
Yep. And this movie is fucking finally over. So, yeah. Low point for the Star Wars. It's so crazy. You know, I guess I can't really complain too much about this movie because if we're going to be really honest, the true low point for the Star Wars saga is always going to be that fucking holiday special. It's always going to be.
End on the holiday special.
It's always going to be the holiday special is always going to be like the true low point for this saga. Even Caravan of Courage and Battle of Endor, you could argue, and you can argue those are worse, but
those are just kids movies, though. I feel like just bad kids movies.
It's really interesting because it goes into the whole discussion like they might be bad, but at least they're memorably bad.
Yeah, this is just not even memorably bad. This is just memorable.
This is just by the numbers.
By the numbers. And
it's not. No, so the movie Solo is not a bad movie. It's just a forgettable one. So that really, at this point, like to all you listeners out there, you just have to ask yourself: do you prefer something that's memorably bad, or just forgettably adequate? Like that's really what it comes down to. So. I'm not going to say that Solo is the worst of the Star Wars franchise.
No, because I felt like they did try. I felt like
they tried. They tried. But we can definitely agree that it's definitely the worst of the Disney era Star Wars.
Yes.
For the time being.
Yes.
We'll see how other things pan out. Because Star Wars Rebels is really big right now. Mandalorian looks fucking great.
Yes.
Last Jedi, I know, like people.
Then we're getting Rise of Skywalker in December.
Yep. Last Jedi, I know people were kind of mixed about. Same with Force Awakens and whatnot. That's a whole nother podcast entirely. One of which we'll be able to do later this month. But yeah, as far as the Disney Star Wars stuff goes, this is kind of lowest tier for them, but. We could be doing worse. We could have Art Carney reading us instructions on how to put together a fucking telescope or like a keyboard or whatnot.
Jefferson Airplane in this movie.
Or just I still say Art Carney, the fucking instruction video where they show you every single minute step.
Those little things that are dancing on the table, and little tiny Wookiees like ooh.
Or lest we forget. Grandpa jerking off to Wookiee porn.
Oh,
yes, that's a thing. People, look it up. It's so
You're not
worth.
Joking. That's actually a thing.
It is so worth the Google. So worth it. This movie, on the other hand, on my part, not really worth the Google. I'd just rather read Han Solo's Wikipedia page. I'm good.
Too.
I'm good. I'm satisfied with that. So, satisfying podcast.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Podcast.
Good enough.
A lot of fun.
But
yeah, a lot of fun talking about this.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Like, you guys have any suggestions or requests? Shoot us a message, and we'll see if we can fit it into the schedule. Till next time, we're gonna
remember to check out my podcast, Nikki B's Movie Corner, available on Spotify, Apple, wherever podcasts are available. Check it out.
Sweet, yeah. And we will see you next week with more Star Wars with Rogue One. So for now, we will bid you good night.
Good night.
Comtrack is hosted by Tim, Hannah, and me, Martha, and was originally created by Tim Lifehite. If you have any questions or suggestions for a future show, leave us a comment or reach us at comtrack.podcast@gmail.com. Like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter page. This has been an episode of Comtrack where you'll never have to watch a movie alone again. Thank you, and good night.